Chapter 26, Warmth, Shocking Change. Really, it's so annoying. Hearing the laughter of the three, Diane spoke frantically. However, this sentence made the three of them laugh even more happily. Okay, let's clean up the battlefield. After laughing, the bear gave the order. Upon hearing this, the three skillfully destroyed or buried the corpse, and rearranged some traps in the nearby forest. When night comes, the weather here is still so gloomy, there is no bright moon or stars in the sky, only darkness, like thick ink. Coupled with the perennial rain and fog here, the whole world seems to be plunged into darkness, and there is no light in sight. The four of Mochizuki Hyuga recuperated in the cave. They sorted out their equipment, recovered their physical fitness, and got ready for the mission tomorrow. There was only a small bonfire in the cave, and the bonfire radiated weak heat and dim light, allowing several people to feel a little warmth in their bodies, and they could also see each other vaguely. They are Anbu, the ones who walk in the dark, who reveal their place as the great sacrifice. In the wild, they cannot light a fire and rely on clothing to bring them warmth. I can't cook either. When I'm hungry, I eat dry food or bingyang pills that have no taste but a lot of calories. The reason why they set up a bonfire is because it is too humid here. Moreover, the weather here is foggy, and the light can travel a very short distance. Unless it is within 10 meters of the light source, it will not be noticed. And today is also a special day. Advertisement. Speaking of which, today is the New Year festival. After tonight, it will be Konoha's 17th year. Diane threw a piece of firewood into the campfire and spoke. He was a little distracted, because he was homesick. Unlike Kusa, Feng, and Mochizuki Hyuga, Den has a family, and many conditions that are not suitable for Anbu. Mochizuki Hyuga was also slightly distracted when he heard the words. Although he had no family, a small figure appeared in his mind. I don't know how Tsuneda's doing. Is she sleeping now? Is she thinking about me too? Mochizuki Hyuga thought, and then thought of second-generation Project Senju Tobirama, thought of Uzumaki Maito, thought of some people in Senju's family. These are his relatives and family members. New Year, time really flies. In a blink of an eye, Konoha has been established for 17 years, Kusung said with emotion. He is in his 40s and is the first batch of ninjas and villagers in Konoha village. Feng also raised a smile at the corner of his mouth, not knowing what he remembered. Although he is alone and has nothing to worry about, even in a cold and lonely person, there will be a softness deep in his heart. On such an important day, we can only suffer in this damp cave, and we can't even eat a good meal. This hateful war, I really want it to end soon. Diane spoke angrily, wishing he could rush to the frontline battlefield now, to kill all directions, to end the war as soon as possible so that he could go home, and return to Konoha. It will end. We have to trust Lord Hokage, trust any of our fellow villagers. Moreover, the reason why we suffer here is not to let the people in the village have a peaceful dinner at this time, Mochizuki Hyuga said with a smile. As a time traveler, he naturally knew that Konoha village have never lost in the ninja war. Advertisement. As expected of Gwyn, he is always so enlightened. Kusung spoke in admiration for this young class member. It only took a short time for him to go from being confused when we met to being satisfied now. He saw the future of the village from light, which is why Kusung was willing to perform tasks on the Hirakawa line. Otherwise, with his character, he would have already applied to be transferred to the front line of the war. Of course I believe Hokage-sama. As soon as Diane heard the word Hokage, he opened his mouth excitedly. He's a big fan of second generation, a die-hard fan. By the way, what is your goal in the future? Kusung suddenly asked. After talking for so long, he had never asked his team members what their future goals were. Sure enough, he was an unqualified captain. Me? Mochizuki Hyuga was taken aback for a moment, then thought for a while before saying, my future goal is to be able to protect the people I want to protect well. Good target. Kusung Wenyo nodded thoughtfully, and then asked, Gwei, have you thought about being a Hokage in the future? As soon as this remark came out, the three of Mochizuki Hyuga were taken aback. Hokage. I'm only 6 years old, Captain, although I'll be 7 soon, but no matter how you look at it, I'm far, far away from Hokage. Mochizuki Hyuga said speechlessly. He had never thought about being a Hokage, and when he thought of the picture of Hokage working hard at the desk in the past, his scalp tingled and he felt disgusted for a while. Ha ha ha, I was just asking about your future goals, not asking you to become Hokage right away. Advertisement. Besides, it's not up to me to decide who will be Hokage. If I could decide, I'd let him be Hokage. Denko has always aimed at Hokage. Kusung laughed a few times before speaking, and mentioned Den, letting Den hear that it was also Yakira-ku. He pretended to be sitting up, then squeezed his throat and said seriously, if I really become Hokage, I don't have to say, Sir, Minister Anbu, Feng, Vice Minister Anbu, as for Gwei, just try to be the captain of the first team. FKU, if you're Hokage, Konoha village is doomed. Feng rolled his eyes and opened his mouth, and everyone laughed. On this important day, although they couldn't go back to Konoha to meet the people they met or do what they wanted to do, the teasing and bickering with each other still brought warmth to the hearts of the four of them. Probably, this is the companion. Until a certain moment, Mochizuki Hyuga's pupils shrank suddenly, and his face became serious. Then, his breathing increased. At the 10 o'clock direction of the cave entrance, at a distance of 300 meters, there are 3 J-A-ring-nin, and 24 Chanin. The voice fell, and the atmosphere froze for an instant. In the eyes of the four people, they were horrified at the same time. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 27. Escape. To choose. All four of them panicked for a moment. The bear immediately extinguished the bonfire, and the cave was plunged into darkness. It should be the scout team from the enemy village. Unexpectedly, they have penetrated into this area. Kusung opened his mouth, thinking about countermeasures. However, Mochizuki Hyuga's voice sounded again in the darkness. They have found us and are coming towards us. Damn it, it seems that there are perception ninjas in this team, Diane said, and then asked Kusung, Captain, what should I do? Escape. Without the slightest hesitation, Kusung directly gave the order to run away. The opponent has 3 J-A-ring-nin and 24 Chanin. The four of them are definitely not opponents, and staying to fight is just courting death. In an instant, the four of them quickly ran out of the cave and fled for their lives towards the station of Konoha's frontline troops. On the other side, the sensory ninja who discovered Mochizuki Hyuya and others also quickly said, "Captain, the 3 strands of chakra have begun to move, and the speed is very fast. The direction is the station of Konoha troops." One of the 3 J-A-ring nin heard the words and immediately understood that the 3 groups of chakra were not wandering ninjas, but definitely Konoha's people, and there were sentient ninjas among them. "Chase, we can't let them escape. Once they escape and spread the information, our plan may fall short." That J-A-ring nin's pupils shrank. He immediately gave an order, and led his subordinates to pursue. These ninjas are Kirigakyo's ninjas, and they are indeed scout squads with very important missions. About 3,000 meters behind them, there is a ninja troop of 4 to 500 people. Today is the day when Konoha built the village, and it is also a rare foggy day. Kirigakyo's battlefield commander made a plan for a surprise attack at night, letting a unit bypass the battlefield, pass through the Hirakawa line, and finally attack the ninja troop station on the Konoha front line. And he led a large force to attack from the front, flanking back and forth, intending to defeat Konoha Shinobi's forces in Yoruichi today. This scout team is the forerunner of the surprise attack force, exploring the way forward. I sensed the 3 strands of chakra just now, and thought it was a wandering ninja, and planned to catch them to collect information on the address here. Unexpectedly, it turned out to be Konoha's ninja. Advertisement, boom, exclamation mark. Boom, boom, exclamation mark. At a certain moment, there were bursts of thunder in the sky. Silver thunder and lightning wandered through the dark clouds, and the silver light flickered, illuminating the earth. Raindrops began to fall from the dark clouds, making the tree trunks and the ground slowly start to become slippery. "Captain, they are still 350 meters away from us." Mochizuki Hyuya ran away quickly while reporting the enemy's position. If he slowed down a little at this time, he would die. The raindrops fell on him, soaking his clothes and making it more difficult to run. "Damn it, the fog is so thick that I can't see the road ahead at all." Diane spoke a little anxiously. When they found the enemy at a distance of more than 300 meters, they fled ahead of time. After running more than 100 meters, that is, 400 to 500 meters, the opponent began to chase. By this time, he had already been overtaken by 150 meters. In normal times, they would not have been overtaken by a distance of more than 100 meters so quickly. But tonight, the fog was too heavy, and it was raining, which greatly reduced their speed, and they couldn't speed up at all. Although Mochizuki Hyuya can see clearly than them because of the evolution of eyes, it is useless for Mochizuki Hyuya to see clearly in this kind of place. Everyone must be able to see clearly. The ninjas of Kirigakyo are different. They grew up in the rain and fog environment since they were young, and they have become accustomed to this kind of weather. Instead, they can better display their strength in this environment. It won't work like this. We need to flee separately. The wind is directed towards the frontline station, the electricity is directed towards Pingchuan Lake, and the light is directed towards the village. Xun ordered calmly, knowing that if he continued to flee like this, all 4 of them would die. "What about you, Captain?" Feng thought of something. He spoke. "I have my own plan. Leave quickly. This is an order." Xun spoke coldly, but did not answer how he wanted to escape. Advertisement. "You want to stay and delay." Feng opened his mouth loudly, and he saw through Xun's plan at once, because, in a certain mission, his captain also told him so. Later he survived, and he never saw the broken captain again. "Damn it, Captain, how can you do this? We are a small team. How can we let you stop and run away by ourselves?" When Diane heard this, he spoke to Xun angrily, and Mochizuki Hyuya also suddenly understood why the bear let him flee in the direction of Konoha, because this place is the farthest from Konoha. If he fled in the direction of Konoha, it would take a long time to get the information out. And the ninjas chasing them also understood this. Facing the few people who fled separately, they must give priority to chasing the person who is most likely to spread the information. "Captain, there is still a chance before that time." Mochizuki Hyuya also spoke, although reason told him that the method proposed by Xun was the best choice at present, but emotion made him say this. "Gwen, how far is the enemy from us?" Xun opened his mouth. Mochizuki Hyuya hadn't called for 20 seconds. He knew in his heart that the other party must be getting closer to them, and the reason why Mochizuki Hyuya didn't report is to let them keep hope in their hearts. But Bear knew he had to dash that hope. 300 meters. When Mochizuki Hyuya opened his mouth, the hearts of all 3 were tense. "At this speed, it won't be long before they are caught up." "Captain, your physical strength is better than mine, and your speed is faster than mine. I'll stay." "You go to the army station for help." The wind spoke loudly, and stopped quickly after speaking. Advertisement. The thunder pierced the sky, and the white thunder light flickered in the world, and the light shone down, making Xun, Den and the Mochizuki Hyuya see the wind that had stopped. "Wind." The 3 also braked to a stop, but Feng spoke loudly. He roared in an almost roaring tone. "This is the best choice. Do you want us all to die? Get out, hurry up, and request support as quickly as possible." These words shocked all 3 of them. "Walk." The bear spoke loudly, turned and walked away. It's not that he is indifferent, greedy for life and afraid of death. After all, he was the first to propose a divorce. Xun just understood that Feng was right, and the longer they stay, the more dangerous they are. Seeing this, Diane and the Mochizuki Hyuya could only get up and follow. While running, Mochizuki Hyuya glanced back. Under the light of thunder, the wind quickly set up traps there. To be honest, these traps set in a very short time can't play a big role, but as long as they can hold the enemy for a second or two, it will be meaningful. Turning his head, the speed under Mochizuki Hyuya's feet became faster. The rain slapped on his head, soaked into his mask from his hair, from his forehead, and then slid from his eye sockets and his cheeks. What slipped down was not only rain, but also tears. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 28. The wind stops. In the rain, after hastily laying a rough trap, the wind stopped, holding the blade, standing in the rain. He took off his Anbu mask and revealed his true face. This is a handsome British face, about 25 or 16 years old, with a calm face at this moment. His real name is Case, Fujita Case. Feng is an orphan. His parents died when he was 5 years old. Later, he wandered to the country of fire, met a person, joined with that person, established Konoha village, and became a ninja. It was that person and Konoha who gave him a new life, allowing him to survive in this troubled world. That person was his former captain. It can also be said to be his father. 6 years ago, in order to let me survive, you chose to stay behind. 6 years later, I made the same choice as you. We will meet soon. The wind murmured in the rain, and then his eyes became firm and cold. The enemy has already caught up. Whoosh whoosh. Kirigakyo's ninja saw where the wind was standing, and subconsciously stopped quickly. Anbu of Konoha, in the flickering thunder. The Kirigakyo ninja who saw Feng wearing it clearly opened his mouth in surprise and recognized Feng's identity. Advertisement. Konoha Anbu. Konoha's Assassination Tactical Special Forces. The members of this unit are all elites. They walk in the dark, hide in the shadows, like a deadly lion majesty, like a group of insidious hunters. Once they find an opening, they will launch a fatal blow to the enemy. Many clans of Kirigakyo were destroyed by this force. There are also many important people who were assassinated by Konoha's Anbu. Anbu, already famous in this war, has become a nightmare that many ninjas can't get rid of. This kind of troops moved the hearts of their Kirigakyo war commanders, who said that after the war, they would let the village build their own Anbu. Seeing that it was an Anbu blocking them, they were all surprised. It's just an Anbu. Why panic? That J.A. Ringnin captain spoke loudly, but his heart sank. After all, it was Anbu with a great reputation, and the other party dared to wait for them here alone, so he must have something to rely on. However, the perception ninja quickly stepped forward and said to him, Captain, he is the only one, he is delaying time. As soon as these words came out, Captain J.A. Ringnin's face changed. Ha ha ha, did you just realize it? What a group of rats. They were shocked by me alone. After hearing the rumor, he laughed wildly and ridiculed to his heart's content. When the ninjas of the Mist Shinobi scouting team heard this, they immediately became angry. Superior, kill him, arsehole. In an instant, 27 ninjas shot at the same time, and shurikens and kunai were overwhelming, like rain falling from the sky. Advertisement. Ding ding ding. Feng quickly swung the sword in his hand. This is his entity, because if the opponent has sentient ninja, using Shadow Clone will only make his chakra consume faster. Kai kai kai. There were too many shurikens and kunai that shot towards the wind, and it was impossible to block them all. He could only choose to resist some fatal attacks. After this round of attack, Feng suffered a lot of injuries. Go to hell. And this round of attack was over. What Feng was facing was more than 20 ninjas rushing to kill him. He opened the corner of his mouth, let out a beast-like roar, and charged forward with his sword. Boom! Exclamation mark. Lightning flashed in the sky, and on the ground, amidst the rain and fog, there was a man holding a sword and rushing towards more than 20 enemies. Pooh! Exclamation mark. When a sword in his hand pierced the body of one of the enemies, Feng's body was also pierced by many kunai, and his throat was even cut by the J.A. Ringnin's kunai. He didn't defend at all, but reported the determination to die. The purpose was to kill the person on the other side before he died. As soon as his body softened, Feng fell to the ground, and that J.A. Ringnin captain said loudly, keep chasing, don't let them get away. After the order was passed, everyone moved quickly, and no one made up for the wind on the ground, because this kind of injury would undoubtedly lead to death. They continued to chase, and the time had been delayed by this Anbu for about a minute just now, and the remaining two distanced themselves from them again, making them need to chase for a longer time. Advertisement. However, a Chanin touched the trap under the wind cloth in a hurry, and several shurikens flew down from the tree and pierced his body. The ninja screamed. There are no medical ninjas here, no doctors, and he won't live long. Damn. Chase. Seeing this, Captain J.A. Ringnin could only roar angrily, leave the wounded man behind, and continued to pursue, and the wind on the ground vaguely saw this scene. A smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. He opened his mouth as if he wanted to say something, but he didn't say it in the end. Blood continued to flow from his body, dyeing the rainwater on the ground red. The rain was still falling, and the blood under the wind was washed and diluted by the rain, and spread, just like a red banana flower slowly blooming. His vision gradually blurred, and many images appeared in his mind. Very man, a broken bar, there are bears, there is electricity, there is Mochizuki Huey, there are friends in the village, people in the village. Finally, he saw his captain. Boom! Exclamation mark. Thunder rumbled, and silvery white light fell from the sky. On the ground, in a puddle of blood, the youth in Anbu uniform stopped breathing. The wind stopped. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 29, The Death of the Bear. Please ask for flowers. Please comment. Please collect. Boom! Exclamation mark. The thunder and lightning in the sky are still roaring, and the rain is getting heavier. Mochizuki Huya and Diane are still desperately trying to escape. They don't want to disappoint Feng's sacrifice. Xang had already separated from them and ran away. His direction was the Konoha army station. Escaping from that direction could attract more enemies to chase him. Before parting, Kima told Mochizuki Huya and Anya to flee separately, with Dento heading towards Lake Hirakawa and Mochizuki Huya heading towards Konoha. Mochizuki Huya agreed, but he didn't agree again. Because he was running for a distance of more than 20 meters, he detoured and merged with the electricity. He had already watched the wind die, and he didn't want to watch Xang and Diane die again. But Xang's mind is made up, and he will never allow Mochizuki Huya to escape with him. So Mochizuki Huya comes to Deng. It's going to be hard, but Mochizuki Huya hopes to escape with electrification. Light, why are you back again? Diane was surprised and puzzled. Don't talk, save your strength, and follow me. Mochizuki Huya did not answer the reason, but took a quick step and opened the way 2 or 3 meters ahead. His eyesight is already far superior to that of ordinary people. Even in such a rainy and foggy night, he can see a lot clearly. Hearing the news, although he was puzzled, he didn't ask, but followed Mochizuki Huya closely. On the other side, The Kirigakure scouting team that was chasing up was also divided into two groups, one of which was 2 JA Ring-nin and 16 Chunin. They were chasing the Konoha shinobi who fled to the direction of the Konoha army station, that is, the bear. Another JA Ring-nin and 8 Chunin were chasing Mochizuki Hui and Den. The perception ninja of Kirigakure was chasing the bear, because the ninja heading towards the Konoha shinobi village was more important than the ninja fleeing in the direction of Konoha shinobi village. Boom! Exclamation mark. The sky exploded. Thunder bursts. In the rain and fog, the bear was running wildly. He is a taijutsu ninja with better physical ability than ordinary ninjas, so even though he can't see the road at all, he goes straight on the rampage, and his speed is not slow. Advertisement. Kusang has no perception ability, does not know how many people are chasing behind him, and does not know the distance between them and himself. He just runs desperately, runs with all his strength. To be honest, he is not worried about his own safety as a ninja, especially an Anbu ninja. He has long been prepared to die. What Kusang worried about was electricity, and it was Mochizuki Hui, especially Mochizuki Hui, in whom he saw the future of the village. As the code name of Mochizuki Hui, it is a kind of light, a light that can illuminate Konoha and guide Konoha to move forward. Therefore, in order for Mochizuki Hui to escape safely, he can choose to break the back and choose the most dangerous route. Even if his death would make Mochizuki Hui safe, Bear wouldn't hesitate to die. You must live. Hui. Kusang secretly opened his mouth, calling Mochizuki Hui not light, but Hui. Although Kusang has a rough appearance and is a burly man, he has a delicate heart and guesses Mochizuki Hui's identity from every clue. Tap tap tat. There was a sound of footsteps trampling on the rain behind him, and Kusang knew that the pursuers had already caught up. After all, he used a rampage method to move forward. Although his speed increased, he also left too many traces, so that the pursuers behind him could also be faster. With a quick glance back, what Kusang first saw was darkness, but the sky thundered and the light shone down, allowing him to see clearly the pursuers behind him. The ninjas and Kirigakure also saw the bear behind them. Whoosh whoosh. Immediately after seeing the figure of the bear, several shurikens and kunai were shot from their hands. Earth-style Earth wall technique. The bear quickly formed seals while running, and at a certain moment, he stopped suddenly and touched the ground with his hands. Then, at his position 3 or 4 meters away, an earthen wall rose from the ground. Careful! Kirigakure's ninja shouted to be careful, and the ninjas reacted quickly, circled around from both sides and jumped from the ground. Earth-style Earth wall thorn. Advertisement. The bear continued to seal after using the excavated wall. The moment the ninja with Kirigakure jumped onto the earth wall, a thorn suddenly appeared on the earth wall. A ninja was directly stabbed by the soil thorn, and the severe pain made him scream. Caught death. At this time, the other ninjas who came around from both sides had already reached a place not far from the bear, and charged towards them holding kunai. Those 2 JA Ring-nin, in particular, took the lead, and Kusang also took out kunai in an instant, and rushed up. From the beginning to the end, he had no intention of escaping, but had the determination to die. Ding ding ding! Exclamation mark. Kunai collided crazily, and there were sparks flying inside in the rain. Pooh! The sound of sharp blades cutting through flesh and blood was very small, drowned in the sound of the rain and the collision of kunai, as if the sound had never been made at all. However, the body does not lie. There are wounds on the bear's body, and blood overflows from the wounds. Kusang is a special JA Ring-nin who has reached the level of JA Ring-nin in taijutsu, but his opponents are 2 real JA Ring-nin. The other Chunin had already surrounded him and did not make a move, because they would only add to the chaos by forcing their way into the fray in such a battle. Pooh! Exclamation mark. Another wound appeared on the bear's body, but the bear under the mask remained expressionless. He strikes quickly, fighting the 2 JA Ring-nin with his physical skills, ignoring his injuries. This is the battle of trapped beasts, and death is his only ending. But for a person with the will to die, the imminent death will not make him fear, but will make him exert stronger strength. It's a pity that the strength gap between the 2 sides is too great, and it cannot be made up by a temporary outbreak. As time went by, Kusang suffered more and more injuries. His strength weakened, his speed slowed down, his physical energy was rapidly depleted, his breathing became heavy and short, and his face became pale. Rumble. Advertisement. The thunder was still roaring in the sky, the earth was bursting with silver light, and the rain was already falling heavily, like a torrential downpour. Kusang was still fighting, even though he was about to collapse because of his growing strength. But he still persisted, trying to use his last ounce of strength to drag this group of people here as much as possible. The longer the group was dragged by him, the more likely Den and Mochizuki Hui would survive. And the 2 JA Ring-nins of Kirigakure are not in a hurry anymore. As long as they get rid of the Anbu in front of them and run away from the other, there is nothing to worry about. Even if he did escape and get word back to Konoha village, it would be much later. Moreover, as long as this news is not transmitted to the Konoha troops on the battlefield immediately, it will not have any impact on their plans. After the people in Konoha village got the news and passed the news to the Konoha troops on the front line, the surprise attack was over. Laugh! Exclamation mark. At a certain moment, Kusang, who was almost exhausted, knew that he would not be able to hold on anymore. So, he brazenly launched the final blow, actively letting a kunai in the hand of a JA Ring-nin penetrate his body. And at this moment when the opponent didn't expect it, Kusang delivered the final blow of his life, a punch, and broke the opponent's throat. As a price, the moment he threw this punch, his heart was also pierced by another JA Ring-nin with a kunai. Coughing up a mouthful of blood, the bear fell down slowly. Worth it. Not only did they fight for Mochizuki Hui for so long, but they also replaced an enemy JA Ring-nin. Kusang lay thinking in his heart, and let several Chunin rush up to make up the knife, stabbing several kunai into his chest. Hui, you must live. The light that becomes Konoha illuminates Konoha's future. The last thought flashed through my mind. Bear, die. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 30. Promise me. Mochizuki Hui and Den were still running, heading towards Lake Irakawa, trying to escape with all their might. Diane was breathing heavily, and running with all his strength exhausted his physical energy. At this time, his body felt deeply tired and limp. Damn it, Gwen, how far is the enemy from us? He opened his mouth to ask, but his pace had already slowed down. Mochizuki Huey felt helpless. Because of his special physique, he could absorb lightning and light even at night, and he was not afraid of consumption. But electricity is different. He is just an ordinary normal ninja. Under this kind of high-intensity consumption, his body is already reaching its limit. And the enemy is still following them, and will catch up soon. There are still about 500 meters. Mochizuki Huey opened his mouth and kept walking, thinking about how to escape. Is it only 500 meters? Damn it, the body is almost at its limit. Hearing the news, my heart tightened. He looked at Mochizuki Huey who was opening the way in front of him, and his heart was torn, but soon, his eyes became firm. Gwe, run away. I will hold them back. Denki spoke loudly to Mochizuki Huey, and he thought of the wind and the bear. Advertisement. Mochizuki Huey heard the words, but directly refused. We are members of a small team. I will not leave any of my partners and escape alone. If Mochizuki Huey really agreed with Denki's proposal, he wouldn't have detoured and merged with Denki. Gwe, my physical strength has reached its limit. I can't run anymore. Diane spoke loudly. His breathing had become heavy. His forehead was covered with sweat, flowing down with the rain. Your physical fitness is better than mine. You still have hope to escape. Leave me alone. You must escape. Diane roared, completely slowed down, and stopped. He supported a tree next to him. His face was ugly, his chest heaved rapidly, and he was breathing greedily. Mochizuki Huey also stopped. He came to Diane's side, picked up Diane without saying a word, turned around and ran. Mochizuki Huey is just a 6-year-old and 7-year-old child, and Den is already in his 20s. There is a big difference in size between the two. Mochizuki Huey looks so funny with Den on his back. Light, put me down quickly. We will all die if you do this. Electric roared. How could he become a burden to others? How could he drag Gwen to die with him? The speed of the enemy chasing us in the rear is obviously different from that at the beginning. There should be only one ninja in their perception, and they are going to chase Captain Bear. Without perception ninjas, it would be much more difficult for them to chase us in this rainy and foggy weather. Your stamina is almost at its limit, but we are pursued by a JA Ring Nin and 8 Char Nin, and their stamina should also be at their limit, and I've changed our escape route. This way to Konoha village. As a scout troop, they circumvented the Hirakawa line on Konoha New Year's Eve. They must have detoured from the rear of the battlefield and attacked the rear troops by surprise. Advertisement. From this direction, the farther we run, the less of a threat we will be to them. The longer we run, the more likely we are to meet village ninjas. Although rainy and foggy weather will make our progress more difficult, this kind of weather can also quickly fade the traces we leave. As long as I have the right geographical environment, I can completely shake them off. Diane, believe me, I will definitely take you back to Konoha, as long as there is still a glimmer of hope. We cannot give up. Mochizuki Huey said quickly. He has been analyzing this team since he encountered this team of enemies. Although he is not very sure, Mochizuki Huey feels that his analysis is close to 10. Hearing the news, he was shocked. He didn't expect that the little boy behind his back had already analyzed so much and planned the escape route. But, although I don't know why Gwen's physical ability is so good, it seems that he has not been consumed from the beginning to the end. But at this time, the electricity had already been heard, and the child who was carrying himself practiced aggravated breathing, and his recovery could no longer keep up with his consumption. Myself, became a burden, and a broken bar. Thinking about Gwen's words just now, and feeling the firmness in his words, Diane suddenly understood why Feng and Xan would choose to break the back and attract more enemies so resolutely. They are here to protect the future of the village. With a jerk of his feet, he broke free from Mochizuki Huey and left Mochizuki Huey's back. Advertisement. This was so sudden that Mochizuki Huey staggered and fell down, and the electricity also fell down. Electricity. Mochizuki Huey stood up puzzled. The mask on his face fell off in the fall just now, revealing that delicate and immature face. Mochizuki Huey, it really is you. Looking at this immature face, Diane showed a look that was as expected, and got up from the ground. I'd better call you Gwe. After all, you're used to it. Light, your plan is good, and the chances of us being able to escape are high. However, after you carry me on your back, the chance of escape becomes 0. I know you don't want to give up on me and run away alone, but listen to me, Light. Now, either you run away, or both of you die together. Don't say anything about being with me. After the wind is broken, Captain Xan lures away more enemies. They may already be. You can't live up to their sacrifices. So, promise me, leave. You want to live. You must live. As Diane spoke, his tone was filled with prayer. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 31 I won the bet! Common Mochizuki Huey was also struggling when he heard this. How could he not understand Feng and Xan's intentions, but let him run away like this? He felt that he would never feel at ease for the rest of his life. After all, he was just an ordinary person in his previous life, and an ordinary person who died young. The freshmen in the Hokage world have only passed 6 or 7 years, and they have experienced very little, and their hearts are still in the stage of growth. If Mochizuki Huey had been a cold-hearted person, perhaps he would have run away sensibly and alone without hesitation. But Mochizuki Huey is not that kind of person. As long as there is still a little hope, he doesn't want to give up, and wants to leave safely with the power on. I will live for sure. Tsunade is waiting for me to marry her when I grow up. Mochizuki Huey spoke firmly, and then continued. From the time we escaped until now, we have been running at high speed without any rest, so your body will reach its limit. But the enemies chasing us also didn't have any rest, and their physical energy was almost exhausted. Electric, I have a plan, and if it works, we can all live. Looking at the power consumed by the long and fast running in front of him, Mochizuki Huey knew that this was an excellent opportunity. If it was against the 3 JA Ring Nin plus 24 Charnin in their heyday, Mochizuki Huey would not have the slightest thought of fighting. That's death. Being brave doesn't mean you're brainless. But if you're up against 8 Charnins who are at their limit and 1 JA Ring Nin who might also be at their limit, Mochizuki Huey thinks that's an opportunity. An opportunity created for him by a teammate with his life. Advertisement. The cessation of the wind delayed time for them, allowing them to turn this pursuit, which could have been solved in a few minutes, into a long-lasting consumption. Xan's separate escape attracted 2/3 of the enemies, causing the overall strength of these enemies to plummet instantly, creating the birth of this opportunity. And Electric's physical energy is exhausted. Let Mochizuki Hyuga know that the time is ripe for opportunity. Next, it depends on his luck and strength. Plan. Telephone questioning. Diane, do you know that in your current state, you are very powerful? You can only play 3 points at most, and an ordinary genin can kill you. If I want to kill you, it's easier than killing a beast. And the enemy chasing us is also in this state. But look at how I'm now, how much strength I can display. Mochizuki Hyuga opened his mouth, and Den's eyes lit up. But immediately, he frowned. But, there is J.A. Ringnin on the opposite side. So let's take a gamble. If that J.A. Ringnin is a taijutsu ninja and has a lot of energy left, then I'll turn around and leave. But if that J.A. Ringnin isn't a taijutsu ninja, then ... do you believe me? Exclamation mark. Mochizuki Hyuga said, looking seriously into Den's eyes. His eyes were firm and confident. Okay, if the other party is a taijutsu ninja, don't hesitate. I'll break it, and you run away. Advertisement. Diane agreed, because he understood that Mochizuki Hyuga could show his full strength at this time. To be honest, if he fights against the prosperous Hyuga in his state, even if he is not instantly killed, he will be resolved within 10 seconds. Therefore, he also saw this chance to live. They will be here soon. Diane, in this plan, your task is to hide and hide for as long as possible, so that I have enough time to assassinate them. If the other party is really taijutsu J.A. Ringnin, electricity, let's do it. Mochizuki Hyuga spoke, and his body quickly disappeared from the forest. It was rainy and foggy late at night, providing the best natural environment for Mochizuki Hyuga to hide, and it was thundering and raining all the time. Even some small sounds would be drowned in the sound of thunder and rain, making Mochizuki Hyuga's assassination more instant. In addition, those enemies are all in a state of extreme fatigue, and the body's perception and reaction must become sluggish. The right time, place and people are all on Mochizuki Hyuga's side. Now, bet that the J.A. Ringnin who pursues them is not the taijutsu J.A. Ringnin. If the bet wins, Mochizuki Hyuga can make a heaven-defying comeback. Tap tap tat tat. There was a quick sound of trampling on the water. The ninjas of Irigakure. Here we come. Haha tilde. Team, captain, the trace. The trace is broken. Haha. A Chanin stopped panting, and spoke loudly to the J.A. Ringnin. The 3 J.A. Ringnin are all captains. Advertisement. Hearing this, everyone stopped, supported the trees beside them, and panted heavily. Their faces were all pale, because of the long-term strenuous exercise. The body was in a state of severe hypoxia, and the whole body was tired and sore. To be honest, if it was normal, they would never put themselves in such a dangerous state of severe consumption. But they only have one enemy, and that enemy is as badly consumed as they are. So it's fine, as long as this Konoha ninja is dealt with and he is not allowed to spoil tonight's plan, they can rest in place. Anyway, tonight's surprise attack has more or less of them and it doesn't matter much. It seems that he doesn't have no strength. Search, the J.A. Ringnin captain ordered, sneering inwardly. Do you really think you can escape by hiding in this environment? So naive. They are Irigakure ninjas. Moreover, everyone is so close, and it takes more than a minute to deal with the traces left by yourself and hide. Where can you hide? It is definitely within a distance of 100 meters. Thinking, this J.A. Ringnin has already treated the enemy as a dead person. But he didn't know that what they were chasing was not one person, but 2 people. At this time, there was a pair of eyes watching him in the darkness. The eyes were full of murderous intent. I won the bet. Mochizuki Hyuga thought to himself. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 32. Killed successfully! Exclamation mark, comma. When shooting a man, shoot a horse first, and when capturing a thief, first capture the king. This J.A. Ringnin is Mochizuki Hyuga's first target. Although it is the easiest to kill those Chanins, the recovery speed of the ninja is very fast. Mochizuki Hyuga doesn't want to face a J.A. Ringnin who has recovered a little after killing those Chanins by himself. He hides in the darkness. It is a place that does not look very good. If an adult hides there, it is too easy to be found. But Mochizuki Hyuga is a child under 7 years old. His body was still young, so it was just right to hide in that position. The sky is still thundering, and the rain is still falling. Found it. Here. Suddenly, a Chanin from Irigakure spoke loudly, waking up the others who were cautiously searching, and everyone gathered around that place. Captain J.A. Ringnin's eyes lit up, and he dragged his tired body forward quickly. The captain had already relaxed at this moment, because the chakra in his body was almost exhausted at this point in his body, and what his subordinates found could not be shadow clone, it must be an entity. Boom! Exclamation mark. The sky and the earth suddenly brightened and then darkened again. A thunderclap exploded in the sky. Advertisement. It's now. In the darkness, Mochizuki Hyuga looked at the enemy J.A. Ringnin who was close to him, and his eyes seemed to burst out with brilliance for a moment. The blade in his hand has been cut out, accompanied by a silvery white light. It was so sudden. At the moment when J.A. Ringnin had no warning at all, Mochizuki Hyuga exploded. The sword energy condensed with light energy was shining brightly at this moment, like a silver moon rising in J.A. Ringnin's eyes, flying towards his throat in his horrified and puzzled eyes. To be honest, this speed is not very fast. He resisted subconsciously, and thought in his heart that he could block it. But immediately, the silver light streaked across his throat and dissipated in the rain and mist. The J.A. Ringnin wanted to say something, but it was blocked by the blood gushing from his throat, making him unable to say anything. Another thunderbolt flashed in the sky, and he finally saw the person who made the attack clearly with his thunderbolt. Looking at that young body and that unusually immature face, his eyes were full of unwillingness and disbelief, but finally dimmed. There was no such thrilling confrontation, nor such a dangerous fight. Yes, it's just a fatal blow that has been planned in secret for a long time. Yes, the strongest blow with all your strength. It worked. Looking at the fallen J.A. Ringnin, Mochizuki Hyuga felt a surge of joy in his heart. and he felt his blood seem to be burning. He has deduced countless possibilities in his mind, and this result is the best result he calculated. Advertisement. It all went so smoothly, without any surprises, but it's normal. After all, in this J.A. Ring-Nin's consciousness, he has only one enemy, and he is exhausted, and has no fighting power. In addition, traces of the enemy have been found, at another relatively far distance from him. So, in theory, he is absolutely safe. The reason why he was killed by Mochizuki Hyuga was because he didn't expect that his enemy had a Mochizuki Hyuga who didn't have chakra on him. He didn't expect that this enemy's physical energy consumption was almost zero, and his whole body was in full strength. And this person is still hiding in a place that he thinks it is impossible for anyone to hide. This made him, who was already exhausted, his consciousness was exhausted, and his reaction force was much slower, to be killed with one blow. All this sounds very long, but in fact it is only a short 2 seconds. Not even, from Mochizuki Hyuga is shot to this J.A. Ring-Nin's move. It's just a second, and it's over. Next, there are other Chanins. Mochizuki Hyuga's excitement was quickly suppressed by him. He still had important things to do. Holding the blade, Mochizuki Hyuga's body quickly started from the original place, ready to start his own hunt. Also quickly rescue the electricity, because in his original plan, Diane just needs to hide it, and wait for him to find a chance to assassinate that J.A. Ring-Nin. To be honest, the success rate would be much lower, because that J.A. Ring-Nin would definitely be vigilant at all times, and he might not be able to kill with one blow. But Mochizuki Hyuga didn't want to risk Diane's life. If Diane was used as bait, he didn't have the confidence to solve this J.A. Ring-Nin before Diane was mobbed and killed. Advertisement. So in his plan, the requirement for electricity is just to hide it, the longer the better. But Diane thought of this. He guessed what Mochizuki Hyuga was thinking, and knew that if he proposed it, Mochizuki Hyuga would definitely refuse. So on the surface, Den agrees with Mochizuki Hyuga's plan, but at a critical moment, he takes the initiative to expose himself to let the J.A. Ring-Nin's vigilance drop. Compared with his possible danger, he is more concerned about Mochizuki Hyuga's safety now. Therefore, even if his life is in danger, he must create the best chance for Mochizuki Hyuga. But all was well. Mochizuki Hyuga succeeded, and he killed the only ninja in the group, J.A. Ring-Nin, the biggest threat. The remaining few Channin are no match for Mochizuki Hyuga. On the other side, Diane, who was actively exposed, was caught in the siege at this time. He is a ninja who is good at ninjutsu. Melee combat is not his strong point, so he has been injured at this time. Run, keep running, why don't you run? The 8 Channin from Kirigakure had already gathered around at this time, looking at Konoha and Anbu who had made them chase after him for so long. They laughed ferociously. It's said that Anbu is an elite ninja army. I think it's just bragging. It's just a group of mice that can only escape. A ninja looked at the embarrassed Diane and taunted him. They didn't kill Diane right away, because just now their captain just tasked them to search instead of kill him. So, they are waiting for the captain to come and decide the fate of this Anbu. However, they did not know that their captain was dead. What they were waiting for was someone who wanted their lives. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 33 Turning Back. Arsehole. Anbu is not something you can insult. Diane suddenly roared angrily, startling the 8 Chanins. They didn't even notice the joy in Diane's eyes at this moment. Pooh, pooh, pooh! Exclamation mark. Ah, there was a sudden scream, and the 3 Channin of Kirigakure felt severe pain in their backs. Under the light of the thunder, it could be seen that there were kunai planted on their backs. It's Mochizuki Hyuga. He has arrived. And Diane, who was leaning against the big tree, also saw Mochizuki Hyuga's arrival, so he roared angrily on purpose to attract the attention of these Chanins and create opportunities for Mochizuki Hyuga. It was rainy and foggy weather, and it was night again. The rain covered up the sound of kunai breaking through the sky, and the dark night covered up the route of kunai. The sudden roar of electricity attracted the attention of these Chanins, making them unable to pay attention to what was behind them. In an instant, the 3 Channin of Kirigakure were shot in the back by kunai of Mochizuki Hyuga, losing their fighting power. The screams from the hit Channin woke up the other 5 Channin, who immediately put on a defensive posture and turned to look backward. However, when he turned around just now, the Channin who was closest to Mochizuki Hyuga felt his eyes go dark, and Mochizuki Hyuga wiped his throat with a sword. The 4th, thinking silently in his heart, Mochizuki Hyuga didn't stop at all, but rushed towards the next target quickly. Advertisement. Ding. Seeing someone slashing with a sword, this Channin subconsciously resisted with all his strength. He successfully blocked Mochizuki Hyuga's blow, but when he wanted to continue to resist the next blow, he found that his body could no longer use any strength, and his reaction became very slow. He couldn't stop the blow that he could definitely resist normally. He watched helplessly as the sword cut towards his body. The blade cut on that Channin's thigh, making him unsteady. Afterwards, Mochizuki Hyuga quickly swung his sword across Channin's lower abdomen, and blood splashed out immediately. The 5th, arsehole. The remaining 3 Kirigakure Channin were terrified by the sudden change, but were overwhelmed by anger in an instant. They quickly rushed towards Mochizuki Hyuga holding kunai. If these Channins are in a normal state, it must be very difficult for Mochizuki Hyuga to fight against 3. If he wants to win, he must pay some price, and he may not even be an opponent. But at this time, these Channin are in a state of extreme fatigue, and their strength is no longer there. How can they be the opponent of Mochizuki Hyuga in his prime? Facing Mochizuki Hyuga's attack, even though they had already reacted in their hearts, their bodies couldn't react at all. They could only watch helplessly as their companions were killed by Mochizuki Hyuga, and Mochizuki Hyuga's blade slashed towards them. Laugh! Exclamation mark. 6th, the 7th, exclamation mark. The last one, with the last Kirigakure's Channin falling unwillingly, a scout team of 9 people, 1 J.A. Ring-Nin and 8 Channin who pursued Mochizuki Hyuga and Den, died. Advertisement. Mochizuki Hyuga completed the biggest comeback and created a miracle. However, the price paid for this miracle was too great. Wind, bear, we succeeded. did not disappoint Feng and Captain Xan's choice. Mochizuki Hue looked at the electricity and spoke seriously. Eyes were unconsciously wet. Woo, we made it. Feng, Captain, we made it. Woo, Electric cried. The emotions of joy and sadness in my heart were too intense, and I couldn't control my tears. Diane, you go back to the village first. I will report to the frontline troops station. Mochizuki Hue took a deep breath, suppressed the sadness in his heart, and spoke to Den. Next, electricity should be no more dangerous. Mochizuki Hue guessed that Kirigakure's other scouting team ninjas probably couldn't come here to pursue them. After they killed the bear, they most likely chose to send a few people back to report the situation to Kirigakure's surprise attack force, while the rest of them continued to move towards the direction of the Konoha frontline troops. Because the ninjas fleeing in the direction of Konoha village, whether they catch up or not, it doesn't matter much. As long as the whereabouts of their surprise troops are not exposed before they arrive at Konoha's frontline troops station, there is no problem at all. However, they certainly never imagined that the 9-member team chasing Mochizuki Hue and Diane would be counter-killed. So, Mochizuki Hue and electricity are now almost completely safe. But for the sake of safety, Mochizuki Hue let the electricity continue to return to the village in the direction of Konoha village. Advertisement. And he wants to report back. Light a broken bar. Electric spoke. The first reaction was to stop, but he didn't say it after all. Don't worry, you know that my physique is very special, and the other party's perception ninjas can't perceive me. As long as I'm careful, they won't find me. After Mochizuki Hue finished speaking, he turned around and was about to leave. He must move immediately, because every second of delay increases the danger to the troops on the front line. Now, Mochizuki Hue has to race against Kirigakure's raiding force. He has to be faster than Kirigakure's scout squad, faster than Kirigakure's raiders. And because he was fleeing in the direction of Konoha village, the distance he had to turn back was longer. Light must survive. Seeing the figure of Mochizuki Hue about to leave, Diane spoke loudly, and the tears in his eyes burst again. Hearing this, Mochizuki Hue turned his head to look at the light, with a confident smile on his lips. Don't worry, I won't die in a place like this. After speaking, he ran away quickly. Boom. The thunder in the sky is still roaring, and the rain is still falling. In the thunderlight, a young figure ran in the rain and mist. His back was firm, as if there was light. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 34 Arrival. Addition of evaluation. It was still raining, and the road was already muddy and slippery from the impact of the rain. It was very inconvenient to run on it. Plop. A running young figure slipped and fell to the ground, splashing mud and water. But immediately, he got up and continued to run in one direction without slowing down. Mochizuki Hue was in a mess right now. He had fallen several times, his clothes were covered with mud, and his delicate face became dirty. Faster. This was Mochizuki Hue's only thought at this time. He ran with all his strength, faster than when he ran for his life just now. Not only because he doesn't have to wait for his teammates who are fleeing together, but also because the one who chases him now is the Shinigami who harvests the lives of his comrades in the Konoha frontline troops. If he loses, many fellow villagers will be taken away by Shinigami and lose their lives. Therefore, he cannot lose. And running with all his strength, Mochizuki Hue's absorption of thunder began to be unable to keep up with the consumption of his body. He was starting to feel tired. The breathing is slowly getting thicker, the body is getting heavy, and the feet are starting to be sore. But Mochizuki Hue can't rest. He is afraid that if he rests, he will lose to the surprise attack force of Yueyang village, and lose to the Shinigami who will take his companion's life. Advertisement. On the other side, Mist Shinobi's scouting team also sent a few people to join the surprise attack team as Mochizuki Hue guessed, and the rest continued to move towards the camp of Konoha's frontline troops. They were not moving slowly at first, but after this incident, their speed became even faster. However, compared to Mochizuki Hue, they need more attention on the way forward. They want to explore the terrain, try to hide as much as possible, and try not to expose themselves before launching a surprise attack. After all, there are summoning beasts in the ninja world. Once they are discovered, some ninjas can pass through summoning beasts. Deliver information quickly. Fortunately, the 3 Konoha Anbu they were chasing did not use summoning. Otherwise, they would have withdrawn directly, and tonight's surprise attack would have been given up directly. So, although they speeded up, they were still not as fast as Mochizuki Hue, who was running at full speed. This is a contest of time and a contest of speed. For Mochizuki Hue, it is still a contest with his own body and his own will. He needs to go all out in this process at all times, and he dare not stop at all. So his body gradually felt a burden. His breathing changed from thick to heavy, and his feet slowly seemed to be poured with cement and tied with a weight. Every step made him feel tight in his chest and burning in his throat. Bit by bit, kilometer after kilometer, Mochizuki Hue was running crazily, and the trees on both sides kept receding from his eyes. Slowly, the trees on both sides seemed to disappear from his eyes, and his gaze was always fixed in front of him. His legs, running subconsciously, seemed to have lost consciousness. Advertisement. Boom! Exclamation mark. The thunder still roared in the sky, and the thunder and lightning wandered in the dark clouds, appearing randomly and without purpose. The rain is still falling, constantly falling from the sky to the world. The thunderlight shone on the young figure running with all his strength, as if illuminating the way forward for him. Thunder sounded, as if it was also encouraging him. It's getting closer, and the distance from Konoha's frontline troops station is getting closer and closer. Finally, in front of Mochizuki Hue's fixed gaze, some lights appeared. The rain became lighter, and the thunder in the sky gradually subsided. The thunder and lightning seemed to vent their emotions, and gradually became calm. On a watchtower at Konoha's frontline troops station, a ninja spotted the rapidly approaching figure. He immediately sent a signal to the comrades around him, and at the same time, he said loudly, "Who is it?" The sound entered Mochizuki Hue's ears, and he came back to his senses. Member of the 4th class of Konoha Anbu's 1st unit, Hikari. "I have important information to report." He responded loudly. His body suddenly felt abnormally tired. His whole body went limp. His footsteps staggered. He fell down and slid 2 or 3 meters on the ground. Whoosh whoosh. Several figures quickly came to Mochizuki Hue, and they recognized Mochizuki Hue Anbu's costume even though it was already dirty. Advertisement. It's just that this Anbu seems too small, which makes them a little suspicious and dare not get too close to Mochizuki Hue on the ground. After all, some ninjas have weird attack methods, and it is too dangerous to get close rashly. And Mochizuki Hue tried his best to support his body, but he only raised his body slightly, and then fell to the ground again. His face was painful, and he felt extremely uncomfortable, but he still used his willpower to speak as loudly as possible. A member of the Irigakure scouting force was found in the area of the Hirakawa line. It is suspected that Irigakure will send troops to attack the station from the rear tonight. Quickly, tell the commander. After speaking, Mochizuki Hue couldn't hold on any longer and passed out directly. When the Konoha shinobi surrounding him heard this, a team leader had weak pupils, and then said loudly, quickly, report the situation to the commander. Regardless of whether this Anbu is true or not, the news he uttered is too shocking and must be investigated. If true, that's hugely important, and soon, the commander of this unit rushed over from the station, and with him, there were several Anbu members. They were sent here by Senju Tobirama to carry out a mission. At this time, they heard that there was an Anbu member outside, so they would follow up to confirm. After several Anbu arrived, one of Anbu's expression changed immediately when he saw the young body lying on the ground faintly. He quickly came to Mochizuki Hue's side, hugged Mochizuki Hue's body, and turned over lightly, and he saw Mochizuki Hue's immature face clearly. Hue book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 35 Sober. When Mochizuki Hue opened his eyes again, he was already lying on a hospital bed in Konoha Hospital. The moment he woke up, Mochizuki Hue was still a little sluggish, but immediately, everything came out of his mind. Surprise attack. He sat up suddenly, and the words came out of his mouth. This awakened Tsunade lying on his hospital bed. Seeing that Mochizuki Hue had woken up, she rushed over and hugged Mochizuki Hue, and said with a crying voice, "Woo, Hue, you finally woke up. You scared me to death." The temperature of the girl's body and the fragile voice brought Mochizuki Hue back to his senses. He thought a lot in his mind for a moment. His eyes quickly scanned the surrounding environment, and he understood his situation at once. Suppressing the thoughts in his heart, Mochizuki Hue hugged Tsunade tightly, and comforted him softly. It's okay, it's okay." At this time, the door of the ward was pushed open, and before anyone came in, there was a voice from outside. "Gui, is the light awake?" The purple-haired youth pushed the door open and opened his mouth anxiously. But when he saw the two embracing figures, he was taken aback for a moment, and then retreated silently. "Hue, don't go to the front line. Let's carry out the mission in the village, shall we?" As the granddaughter of first Hokage and second Hokage, Tsunade uttered such words during such wars, when the village needed manpower most. She looked up at Mochizuki Hue with tears in her eyes, and her tone was almost begging. Advertisement. In this way, Mochizuki Hue felt warm in his heart, gently placed Tsunade's head on his shoulder, and whispered in Tsunade's ear, "Don't worry, I will be fine." Tsunade wanted to say something after hearing that, but felt Mochizuki Hue tightly hugged her hands, and finally could only sob softly. And Mochizuki Hue, he patted Tsunade on the back lightly, comforting the girl who put him in her heart. It took a long time before Tsunade's mood calmed down, and the medical ninja outside the door just came in. Tsunade immediately got up from Mochizuki Hue's arms, and stood quietly aside. The medical ninja smiled at the two of them, and then came to Mochizuki Hue for a check, and then said in satisfaction and amazement, "You are recovering well. You can even say that you are fully recovered. However, to be on the safe side, continue to lie in the hospital for a day or two. After all, when you were just sent here, you had a high fever and your body was in a state of collapse." He marveled. The boy's resilience was simply unbelievable. When he was sent to the hospital at first, everyone felt that whether he could wake up was a problem. After all, his condition is too bad, and he is a 6 or 7-year-old child. That kind of physical condition cannot be tolerated by a child's body. However, after a day, everyone looked at Mochizuki Hue's body in meditation, and then began to think that Mochizuki Hue might recover in a month or so. Unexpectedly, after only 3 days, the little boy's body has completely recovered. This speed of recovery stunned all the medical ninjas who knew his physical condition, saying that they had never seen it in their lives, which was amazing. Advertisement. I heard that First Hokage's response speed is also amazing. But First Hokage has never been to the hospital, so they don't know. But this boy's recovery speed is definitely the first among all the people they know. Of course, they can't talk about this kind of thing, because Master Second Hokage issued a gag order. You can lie here honestly for a day or two. If you don't feel any discomfort, you can be discharged from the hospital. Okay, I see. Thanks doctor. You are welcome. The medical ninja finished speaking to Mochizuki Hue, turned around and left the ward. Electricity also came in from outside the ward, and he looked at Mochizuki Hue's immature face, feeling very emotional. Then, he said to Mochizuki Hue with a serious face, "Light, you succeeded. With the message you conveyed that night, the frontline troops made preparations in advance, set traps, and wiped out Irigakure's surprise attack troops." Hearing this, Mochizuki Hue felt relieved and unconsciously let out a sigh of relief. Fortunately, everything has not been let down. He succeeded. "Yugi's talk first. I'll go back and lie down too." Diane himself was seriously injured and was hospitalized. He winked at Mochizuki Hue and Tsunade, and left with interest. It made Tsunade's cheeks flushed, slightly shy. But after Diane left, Tsunade immediately sat on the hospital bed again, looked at Mochizuki Hue seriously, but didn't speak. Advertisement. Seeing her serious expression, Mochizuki Hue suddenly chuckled. This made Tsunade confused. She pouted and said, "Huh, still laughing. Don't you know how much I worry about you?" "Really? Why did Grandpa Tobirama let you perform such a dangerous mission?" Hearing this, Mochizuki Hue shook his head and said, "You are wrong to blame Grandpa Tobirama. Although I am on the front line, my mission is actually quite simple and safe. This time it was a complete accident, and I ran into Irigakure's scouting team by chance, which made it so dangerous. And don't worry, This kind of thing should never happen in the future. After finishing speaking, he raised a smile at the corner of his mouth, and continued to Tsunade. Guess why I laughed just now? Why? Tsunade wondered. Because you have beautiful eyes. But I think mine are even better. Mochizuki Hue spoke. The first sentence sweetened Tsunade's heart, and the second sentence made her pucker up. But Mochizuki Hue suddenly looked at Tsunade affectionately, and said seriously, because I have you in my eyes! Exclamation mark. For a moment, there seemed to be pink bubbles appearing here. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 36 Memorial. The future. Blue sky, white clouds, the cool wind blows, and the shadows of the trees dance. In the abandoned training ground, overgrown with weeds, no one has been here for a long time. At this time, there was a young figure standing there, not moving for a long time. He tilted his head slightly, but his eyes were lost in thought. It seems that from the empty front, I saw a familiar figure. It was a tall and strong man, and a black-haired man with a sword. Captain Xun Feng, I succeeded. Not only did I pass on the information, but I also escaped danger with electricity. Mochizuki Hue slowly opened his mouth to the air, his expression a little bewildered. Many images flashed through his mind, like a movie scene after scene, from the first acquaintance in the 4th class, to the busy setting up traps when the wind broke, and the decisive back of the bear when he left. Everything seemed to be an illusion, but it actually happened. Xun Hefeng, the two older brothers who took good care of him on weekdays, have never seen each other again since then. Because this is not a movie, and they are not two actors, but living beings. They are dead. This made the last gap between Mochizuki Hue's heart and the world disappear, and made him truly feel that he is truly alive. Everyone is real, and this world is real. From this moment on, he is fully Mochizuki Hue. Advertisement. Light a broken bar. A broken bar. Diane walked slowly to Mochizuki Hue, looking at the little boy who saved his life. He could feel Mochizuki Hue's sadness. Captain Xun Feng will be very proud and gratified after knowing everything you have done. Den also raised his head slightly, looking towards the sky. In the sky, he also seemed to seek Xun Hefeng. This is a ninja. I don't know when I will die in a mission. Den is also a little sad. Although he has long been aware of being a ninja, he still feels sad when all his companions who performed tasks in the past die. But he can't just let it down, let alone be negative in front of Mochizuki Hue. So, he continued, but every ninja has the awareness of death the moment he becomes a ninja, and he will not be afraid of death, fear of death. Because for a ninja, death does not mean that everything is in vain. The death of a ninja is to leave something meaningful to other living people. Hikari, you are the meaning of Captain Bear and Feng's death. Do you know, Captain Bear, maybe I really want you to be Hokage. So, Light, you have to carry the meaning left by Captain Xun and Feng in this world, and continue to move forward to become the light of Konoha and illuminate the future of Konoha. After speaking, he turned his head to look at Mochizuki Hue with a serious face. Mochizuki Hue was silent, and after a few seconds, he raised his head, looked at the TV seriously, and said, I will not let Captain Xun and Feng's sacrifice be meaningless, and I will not let this happen again. Under the sun, Mochizuki Hue looked determined. Advertisement. The war is still going on. Konoha and Kirigakure battle, since that incident, began to gain a small advantage, because not only did Konoha wipe out an elite army of several hundred people in Kirigakure, but also because of this battle, Kirigakure's morale was seriously hit. This made Kirigakure's battlefield commander's teeth itch, and his hatred for Konoha Anbu in his heart became even worse. As the biggest contributor to all this, the 4th squad of Anbu's 1st unit was not mentioned at all. Not to mention, the members of the 4th class who died in this incident. Xun Hefeng. This is Anbu, the one who walks in darkness. There is no name in life, no glory in meritorious deeds, and no one mentions it in death. Mochizuki Hue has not returned to the battlefield for a while. He was ordered to rest in Konoha village, waiting for new members to join. But did the order say when new members will join? This allowed Mochizuki Hue to relax for a while, and he began to sort out all his current possessions and plan his future path. After this incident, Mochizuki Hue suddenly felt that his attack methods were a little less. His conventional means of attack at this time are shuriken technique, swordsmanship, and body technique. These are more suitable for melee attacks and single target attacks. And as the trump card for killing, it is the sword energy condensed by light energy. Yainayu. Yainayu is definitely very strong, and few people can react to resist when it is caught by surprise. This strike is very suitable for assassination, but Yainayu needs to gain momentum, which is a fatal shortcoming. And because he didn't extract chakra, Mochizuki Hue's attack methods lacked the weirdness of being a ninja, and also lacked some group and large-scale attack methods. Advertisement. This makes Mochizuki Hue helpless. In fact, he can extract chakra from his body, but he found that with the growth and strengthening of Yuan Qi in his body, as soon as the chakra in his body was extracted, it was automatically absorbed by Yuan Qi for assimilation. Therefore, he can't use the chakra in Mochizuki Hue's body at all. And this assimilation process, Mochizuki Hue does not know how long it will be over. Only when Yuan Qi assimilates chakra can he evolve Yuan Qi into chakra and use it. And once he can use chakra, his overall strength can definitely be greatly improved. Because he doesn't need to worry about how to acquire powerful ninjutsu. With Senju Tobirama, a ninjutsu master, what kind of ninjutsu can't he touch? So as long as he has chakra, he only needs to learn those ninjutsu, which can be transformed into his own strength. It can make up for his single means and lack of hand attack methods for group attacks. Moreover, chakra perceives ninjas and does not perceive him. Because his chakra is not stored in the body, but produced at any time. Once used, there will be no chakra in his body. Therefore, Mochizuki Hue can only start from other aspects now, to see if there is any other way to improve his own strength. In this way Mochizuki Hue sighed in his heart. I only hate that I am too young and time is too urgent. His potential is invincible, but it takes time to convert his potential into strength. Given another 10 years, he wouldn't bother with those choices. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. April 29th to May 3rd, Chapter 37 New Swordsmanship. Mochizuki Hyu waited for 5 days, but did not wait for a new teammate. However, during these 5 days, he was not completely idle, but was thinking about how to increase his strength. Chakra is no longer counting on it, and I don't know when it will be able to assimilate well. Then, you have to find a way from your own skills. The energy that Mochizuki Hyu can use at this time is light energy, which is also the only energy that is completely assimilated in his body. According to his previous development idea, it is to condense light into a powerful energy body, making it lethal, such as his sword energy Silver Moon. That is the main attack skills. However, this is very difficult, because Yainayu needs to be concentrated for a certain period of time before it can be used. If you use Yainayu instantly, what you cut out is just a ray of light, a beam of light that does no damage to enemies. However, this inspired Mochizuki Hyu. A ray of light cannot hurt people, but it can cause disturbance to people. He immediately thought that if he was fighting the enemy, in a high intensity and high focus close combat, when the opponent was staring at the sword he swung, his sword suddenly burst into a dazzling light, then his opponent would how to react. Don't think about it. It will definitely cause visual discomfort, and because of the suddenness, they will subconsciously make actions such as blocking the eyes or blocking the light source, and this will create a big flaw. The battle between ninjas, especially the swordsmanship of ninjas, has always been straightforward, and the moves are aimed at the vital points. To reveal such a big flaw in a life and death duel is almost certain to die. So, this trick is very clever. The more Mochizuki Hyu thought about it, the more feasible it became, so he started experimenting directly. Advertisement. He first confirms how much brightness he can burst out at present, and then confirms how long the burst of light can last, and what method he can use to burst out the light. After a lot of tinkering and tossing, a few days passed, and Mochizuki Hyu got a new sword technique. In the abandoned training ground, Mochizuki Hyu and a young man with purple hair stood facing each other. Mochizuki Hyu wanted to test his new sword technique, so he naturally needed a living person to cooperate. When the TV heard that Mochizuki Hyu was looking for someone to test his new fencing technique, Mao recommended himself and shouted for me. So there was this scene. Come on, Gue, let me see the results of your practice during this time. Dennis said with great anticipation that his life was saved by Mochizuki Hyu, and after the events of that night, he saw the potential and possibility of Mochizuki Hyu. Therefore, Diane has become the same as the bear and the wind in the past, always paying attention to the growth of Mochizuki Hyu. Okay, so, I'm going to start. Hearing this, Mochizuki Hyu pulled his sword blade out of the scabbard, and his eyes became sharp in an instant. Afterwards, the whole person had rushed out, and the blade in his hand quickly slashed towards the electricity, and Diane quickly counterattacked with kunai. However, more defensive than offensive. He's not as good as Mochizuki Hyu because of his melee prowess. Ding 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 ding. The two fought quickly, and Mochizuki Hyu didn't hold back, so Diane could only cheer up and fight Mochizuki Hyu with great concentration. At a certain moment, Mochizuki Hyu watched every time he swung. His eyes were fixed on the trace of his blade, and he knew the time was right. So broken bar. Mochizuki Hyu narrowed his eyes slightly and moved his eyes lightly. Advertisement. As for the sword in his hand, there was a sudden burst of white light, as if it were a light bulb. Staring at the sword in Mochizuki Hyu's hand, he felt his eyes brighten. The glare made his eyes sting, and he closed them subconsciously, and turned his head to the other side. Then he felt a gust of wind blowing over his neck, making his neck cool. It seems that this sword has a good effect. Mochizuki Hyu spoke in satisfaction, and put away the sword in his hand. Hearing this, Den opened his eyes, but the bright light just now still remained in his vision, which made his eyes feel a little uncomfortable. In a battle with a high concentration of attention, use sudden strong light to stimulate the opponent's line of sight, so as to create a loophole and kill the enemy. Light. You really want to become light. Den already understood the effect of Mochizuki Hyu's sword, and he couldn't help but sigh. Where is your swordsmanship? It's more like a new kind of ninjutsu. Moreover, it's still a Muji ninjutsu that doesn't require seals. Muji ninjutsu is inherently surprising, and if you use a sword to launch it, the enemy must not be able to expect it. This sword is amazing. Analyzing the advantages of this sword, he praised it again. It's okay. This sword still has many shortcomings. Mochizuki Hyu smiled when he heard this, but he didn't swell. Disadvantages? Diane has never been a delicate person, and he really didn't think of the shortcomings of this technique for a while. One of the disadvantages is that this technique is ineffective against blind people. The second disadvantage is that this technique has little effect on ninjas who have been stimulated by strong light. The third disadvantage is that the effect of this technique will be greatly reduced for people with weak light perception or people wearing sunglasses. The fourth shortcoming is that in order to achieve the best effect of this technique, the burst of light must be at the focus of the enemy's sight. The fifth disadvantage is that before using this technique, I have to turn my eyes or close my eyes, because the burst of light will also irritate my eyes. Advertisement. There is only so much we know so far. As for whether there are other shortcomings, we need to continue to explore. So, it's not even close. All of a sudden, Mochizuki Hyu mentioned 5 disadvantages of this technique, but the corner of the electric mouth twitched slightly. These shortcomings do exist, but the blind ninja, he has grown so big, he has never seen it. Bright light stimulation training. Almost no one has practiced this kind of training, and even if there is, they will not train this kind of sudden burst of strong light. There are also those with weak light perception and those who wear sunglasses. These two ninjas really exist, but they are very few. It would be nice to have 1 out of 1 or 2,000 ninjas. As for the 4th and 5th points, it depends on how the caster handles the details. In short, how can this technique be as unbearable as the boy Gwing said? Obviously it was an amazing sword. He thought about it, but he didn't bother to complain, but asked, what is the name of this sword? Hearing this, Mochizuki Hyu touched his chin with his hand, and then said, it's called Dog Thief. Stare at your dog eyes. Seeing a black wire. Mochizuki Hue ha ha ha. Just kidding. Don't take it seriously. This sword uses light to attack the enemy. Light can drive away the darkness brought by the enemy and make people feel safe. This sword is called Light. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 38. New mission. Assassination. After looking for electricity and testing the actual combat effect of brightness, Mochizuki Hue was quite satisfied. Although this trick still has some shortcomings, it is enough to become his current trump card. However, this trick can only be used as a surprise attack, as a means of killing. If the first time you use it and fail to kill it with one blow, then the next time you use it again when the enemy is prepared, you may not be able to receive the effect of the first use. That said, this trick is best used when fighting alone with an enemy. Because once there are too many people, even if he kills his enemy with this move, other enemies will see this move, and they will be vigilant when fighting him. Therefore, this trick is best used when there is only one enemy, or kill all enemies who see this move. This will ensure that future enemies will not be wary of Mochizuki Hue's move once they see him. Mochizuki Hue wanted to continue developing more moves, but a sudden task interrupted his arrangement. The new teammates have not yet arrived, but the new mission has arrived first. On this day, Mochizuki Hue put on his brand new Anbu uniform and mask, and waited in the training ground of Anbu in the village with the same outfit. It's time to start the mission again. Emotionally speaking, they haven't put on this suit for almost a month. Diane almost thought that he had returned to the light. Advertisement. In fact, if he applied to leave Anbu and return to the light, second Hokage would probably not refuse. But that incident had a great impact on Den. He hopes to witness the growth of Mochizuki Hue in the future, and also wants to protect Mochizuki Hue so that he can grow safely. Yeah. A long-lost mission. Mochizuki Hue also spoke. It seems that it is impossible for him to leave Anbu in a short time. This should be Senju Tobirama's decision. After all, compared with the normal genin class, the growth rate in Anbu will be much faster. Whoosh! A figure appeared using the body flicker technique, making Mochizuki Hue and Den stand upright. This is Chanin from a village. When he saw Mochizuki Hue and Diane, his eyes stayed on Mochizuki Hue for 2 more seconds, and his eyes were a little surprised. But good ninja qualities and strict ninja records would not allow him to take the initiative to ask. He just took out a sealed letter, bent down and handed it to Mochizuki Hue, and at the same time respectfully said, "You are the Anbu members who are carrying out the mission this time. This is the mission, so the next thing is up to you." After finishing speaking, after Mochizuki Hue finished the letter, he left directly with another body flicker technique, and Mochizuki Hue and TV looked at each other, and they both saw doubts in each other's eyes. Then, Mochizuki Hue tore open the envelope in his hand and took out the contents. This is a letter, a handwritten letter from second Hokage Senju Tobirama. What is recorded in it is the mission of Mochizuki Hue and Diane this time. Advertisement. No, more precisely, this task belongs almost exclusively to Mochizuki Hue because this is an assassination mission. With the outbreak of the war, too many countries and ninja villages were involved in the war, and the entire ninja world was in chaos. However, it has been several months since the outbreak of the war, and the battle situation has gradually become clear. Under the leadership of second Hokage Senju Tobirama, Konoha was outnumbered but suffered heavy losses from the other 4 ninja villages, causing some small countries that attacked Konoha to directly destroy the country. Therefore, some far-sighted people have seen the result of the war and started to plan for the next step. But a country is not decided by one person. Even daimyo will receive a lot of restrictions. It is difficult for one person to decide the direction of the whole country. Some visionary people may not be reused, and they may not be able to speak. On the contrary, some stupid people occupy high positions, issue orders, and lead the country to a future of destruction. This time Mochizuki Hue is going to assassinate a certain minister of a country because of its geographical location and strength. This country has great influence among the many small countries in that area. Moreover, this country is one of the few countries that has not yet participated in the Ninja World War. But second Hokage Senju Tobirama's got the news that this country seems to be interested in participating in the Ninja War and wants to get a share of the Ninja War. And the lineup they chose was not the Nation of Fire, but the opposite of the Nation of Fire. Therefore, Mochizuki Hue needs to assassinate a certain minister in that country who has a lot of power and is trying to promote the attack on the Fire Nation. Advertisement. The effect of assassinating this minister is to deter. It is to tell the daimyo of that country that if you attack the land of fire, no matter what the war is, you will die first. As for why Mochizuki Hue is given the really important tasks, and why these tasks are for Mochizuki Hue alone, it is because there are 2 ninjas with strong perception ability in that country. They guard the minister and daimyo at all times. It is difficult for ordinary ninjas to get close to them. And once they forcefully kill the 2 of them, not only will they not be deterred, but it will arouse their anger and drive the nearby small countries to attack Konoha together. Therefore, these 2 people cannot be killed clearly, and the daimyo cannot be killed recently, and it is too difficult for ordinary ninjas to kill that minister without anyone knowing it, because the chakra inside a normal ninja would expose them very quickly. But Mochizuki Hue is different. Chakra sensing ninja cannot perceive him. He can hide perfectly. Coupled with Mochizuki Hue's age, he can better blend into that country and get close to that minister. After reading the task, Mochizuki Hue's heart sank. This task is very dangerous, but it is extremely challenging. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 39 Information and Difficulty. After confirming the content of the mission, Mochizuki Hue and Diane prepared some things that might be used in this mission, and set off directly. This time the task is obviously mainly in Mochizuki Hue, and the heart also needs Mochizuki Hue to sneak into the assassination. The task of Diane is to escort Mochizuki Hue to leave safely after Mochizuki Hue's assassination succeeds or fails. From Konoha village, the country of fire, to that country, it took the 2 of them 3 days to reach their destination under high-intensity travel. This is a town, unlike the ninja village of Konoha village, where there are almost no ninjas along the way, only some soldiers. However, the level of prosperity here is quite good. The town is quite big, with people coming and going on the street, and various vendors. It is not much different from Konoha village, and even looks more prosperous. Mochizuki Hue has already entered the town. His immature face has been disgraced by himself. Wearing dirty clothes, he looks like a little beggar. In short, anyone who sees Mochizuki Hue like this will only think that he is a harmless war orphan, instead of associating him with a powerful person like a ninja, let alone Konoha Anbu, who became famous in this ninja war and made people feel discolored. It's really that his 7-year-old appearance is too deceiving, and Mochizuki Hue doesn't have chakra fluctuations. Even if the two perception ninjas are beside a Mochizuki Hue, they won't think there is a problem with this child. After Mochizuki Hue arrived at the destination, he did not immediately sneak in to carry out the assassination. Advertisement. Mochizuki Hue is a calm and cautious person. First, like a normal little beggar, he stopped and walked on the street, turned round, and figured out the general terrain of the town. Then he inadvertently walked around the location of the minister's mansion, observing the surrounding environment, looking for infiltration routes and planning exit routes. After getting a general understanding of these geographical conditions, Mochizuki Hue began to look for his target, the minister who advocated taking action against Konoha. I have to say, he was really cautious. After 2 days of observation, Mochizuki Hue found that the minister seemed to have guessed that Konoha might attack him, or was asked by the daimyo. The minister spends most of the day with that daimyo, and only returns to his mansion when he rests at night. And after returning to his mansion, he didn't have fun, just read a book boringly, sometimes smashed something, and went to sleep with anger. Therefore, judging from his performance, this should be a person with a bad temper, and the reason why he is so regular and cautious is that he is restrained by external forces. In other words, the daimyo had already guessed that there would be ninjas who would assassinate the minister. The intention to join the war and declare war on the nation of fire also came from this daimyo. Speaking of this minister, his life trajectory is very simple, and his guards are not weak at all. Advertisement. Because there are more than a dozen guards by his side no matter when and where. Moreover, Mochizuki Hue also sensed that in the dark, there were 6 ninjas in the perception ninja, a total of 7 ninjas, who were protecting him almost all the time 24 hours a day. But Mochizuki Hue noticed that these 7 ninjas were not the same group. There are 4 ninjas in a group. One of those 4 ninjas is J-Ring Nin, and the remaining 3 are Chunin. And that perception ninja is in the same group as the other 2 Chunin, and the strength of the perception ninja should be like an elite Chunin. But because the special sentient ability reaches J-Ring Nin level, that sentient ninja should be special J-Ring Nin. In other words, beside this minister alone, there are 2 J-Ring Nin and 5 Chunin. In addition to the sentient ninja who protects this daimyo, and 1 J-Ring Nin and 5 Chunin, the guard force of these 2 people alone has 4 J-Ring Nin and 10 Chunin. This is just a small country. There are not many ninjas in the ninja villages in the country. It is very unreasonable to protect these 2 with such a strong force as 4 J-Ring Nin and 10 Chunin. So there is only one possibility. Those 2 sentient ninjas and the 4 Chunin they lead belong to this country, but the other 2 secret J-Ring Nin and the 6 Chunin they lead do not. Senju Tobirama can get the news, know the country's intention to participate in the war, and make a decision to assassinate. Then several other big countries may also get the news and they'll make a decision to prevent Konoha's assassination. And this country is geographically located between the land of fire and the land of wind, so there is only one possibility. The other 2 J-Ring Nin and 6 Chunin who secretly protect the minister and the daimyo are Tsunaga-kyo's ninja squad. Advertisement. Because once this country declares war on the nation of fire, Tsunaga-kyo will be under less pressure in the war with Konoha, turning the tide of the war that has begun to decline. So, they sent 2 teams of ninjas to protect the minister and the daimyo. The 2 perception ninjas naturally sensed the 2 teams of Tsunaga-kyo ninjas, but after realizing the intention of the other party, they pretended not to know. After finding out the situation here, Mochizuki Hue's heart sank. It was not very difficult for him to assassinate the minister, because he was confident that he could sneak into the minister's mansion without being found. The difficulty is how to do it quietly, complete the task without anyone noticing and leave safely. Because once exposed during the assassination or after the successful assassination, facing the secret Tsunaga-kyo ninja, Mochizuki Hue didn't feel that he was his opponent, and he didn't have the confidence to leave safely. And forcibly exchange one's own life for another, it doesn't exist. It's absolutely impossible. So, Mochizuki Hue needs to plan well. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 38. New mission. Assassination. After looking for electricity and testing the actual combat effect of brightness, Mochizuki Hue was quite satisfied. Although this trick still has some shortcomings, it is enough to become his current trump card. However, this trick can only be used as a surprise attack, as a means of killing. If the first time you use it and fail to kill it with one blow, then the next time you use it again when the enemy is prepared, you may not be able to receive the effect of the first use. That said, this trick is best used when fighting alone with an enemy, because once there are too many people, even if he kills his enemy with this move, other enemies will see this move, and they will be vigilant when fighting him. Therefore, this trick is best used when there is only one enemy, or kill all enemies who see this move. This will ensure that future enemies will not be wary of Mochizuki Hue's move once they see him. Mochizuki Hue wanted to continue developing more moves, but a sudden task interrupted his arrangement. The new teammates have not yet arrived, but the new mission has arrived first. On this day, Mochizuki Hue put on his brand new Anbu uniform and mask, and waited in the training ground of Anbu in the village with the same outfit. It's time to start the mission again. Emotionally speaking, they haven't put on this suit for almost a month. Diane almost thought that he had returned to the light. Advertisement. In fact, if he applied to leave Anbu and return to the light, second Hokage would probably not refuse. But that incident had a great impact on Den. He hopes to witness the growth of Mochizuki Hue in the future, and also wants to protect Mochizuki Hue so that he can grow safely. Yeah. A long-lost mission. Mochizuki Hyu also spoke. It seems that it is impossible for him to leave Anbu in a short time. This should be Senju Tobirama's decision. After all, compared with the normal genin class, the growth rate in Anbu will be much faster. Whoosh! A figure appeared using the body flicker technique, making Mochizuki Hyu and Den stand upright. This is Chanin from a village. When he saw Mochizuki Hyu and Diane, his eyes stayed on Mochizuki Hyu for 2 more seconds, and his eyes were a little surprised. But good ninja qualities and strict ninja records would not allow him to take the initiative to ask. He just took out a sealed letter, bent down and handed it to Mochizuki Hyu, and at the same time respectfully said, "You are the Anbu members who are carrying out the mission this time. This is the mission, so the next thing is up to you." After finishing speaking, after Mochizuki Hyu finished the letter, he left directly with another body flicker technique, and Mochizuki Hyu and TV looked at each other, and they both saw doubts in each other's eyes. Then, Mochizuki Hyu tore open the envelope in his hand and took out the contents. This is a letter, a handwritten letter from Second Hokage Senju Tobirama. What is recorded in it is the mission of Mochizuki Hyu and Diane this time. Advertisement. No, more precisely, this task belongs almost exclusively to Mochizuki Hyu because this is an assassination mission. With the outbreak of the war, too many countries and ninja villages were involved in the war, and the entire ninja world was in chaos. However, it has been several months since the outbreak of the war, and the battle situation has gradually become clear. Under the leadership of Second Hokage Senju Tobirama, Konoha was outnumbered but suffered heavy losses from the other 4 ninja villages, causing some small countries that attacked Konoha to directly destroy the country. Therefore, some far-sighted people have seen the result of the war and started to plan for the next step. But a country is not decided by one person. Even daimyo will receive a lot of restrictions. It is difficult for one person to decide the direction of the whole country. Some visionary people may not be reused, and they may not be able to speak. On the contrary, some stupid people occupy high positions, issue orders, and lead the country to a future of destruction. This time Mochizuki Hyu is going to assassinate a certain minister of a country because of its geographical location and strength. This country has great influence among the many small countries in that area. Moreover, this country is one of the few countries that has not yet participated in the Ninja World War. But Second Hokage Senju Tobirama's got the news that this country seems to be interested in participating in the Ninja War and wants to get a share of the Ninja War. And the lineup they chose was not the Nation of Fire, but the opposite of the Nation of Fire. Therefore, Mochizuki Hyu needs to assassinate a certain minister in that country who has a lot of power and is trying to promote the attack on the Fire Nation. Advertisement. The effect of assassinating this minister is to deter. It is to tell the daimyo of that country that if you attack the land of fire, no matter what the war is, you will die first. As for why Mochizuki Hyu is given the really important tasks, and why these tasks are for Mochizuki Hyu alone, it is because there are 2 ninjas with strong perception ability in that country. They guard the minister and daimyo at all times. It is difficult for ordinary ninjas to get close to them. And once they forcefully kill the 2 of them, not only will they not be deterred, but it will arouse their anger and drive the nearby small countries to attack Konoha together. Therefore, these 2 people cannot be killed clearly, and the daimyo cannot be killed recently, and it is too difficult for ordinary ninjas to kill that minister without anyone knowing it, because the chakra inside a normal ninja would expose them very quickly. But Mochizuki Hyu is different. Chakra sensing ninja cannot perceive him. He can hide perfectly. Coupled with Mochizuki Hyu's age, he can better blend into that country and get close to that minister. After reading the task, Mochizuki Hyu's heart sank. This task is very dangerous, but it is extremely challenging. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 39 Information and Difficulty. After confirming the content of the mission, Mochizuki Hyu and Diane prepared some things that might be used in this mission, and set off directly. This time the task is obviously mainly in Mochizuki Hyu, and the heart also needs Mochizuki Hyu to sneak into the assassination. The task of Diane is to escort Mochizuki Hyu to leave safely after Mochizuki Hyu's assassination succeeds or fails. From Konoha village, the country of fire, to that country, it took the 2 of them 3 days to reach their destination under high-intensity travel. This is a town, unlike the ninja village of Konoha village, where there are almost no ninjas along the way, only some soldiers. However, the level of prosperity here is quite good. The town is quite big, with people coming and going on the street, and various vendors. It is not much different from Konoha village, and even looks more prosperous. Mochizuki Hyu has already entered the town. His immature face has been disgraced by himself. Wearing dirty clothes, he looks like a little beggar. In short, anyone who sees Mochizuki Hyu like this will only think that he is a harmless war orphan, instead of associating him with a powerful person like a ninja, let alone Konoha Anbu, who became famous in this ninja war and made people feel discolored. It's really that his 7-year-old appearance is too deceiving, and Mochizuki Hyu doesn't have chakra fluctuations. Even if the 2 perception ninjas are beside a Mochizuki Hyu, they won't think there is a problem with this child. After Mochizuki Hyu arrived at the destination, he did not immediately sneak in to carry out the assassination. Advertisement. Mochizuki Hyu is a calm and cautious person. First, like a normal little beggar, he stopped and walked on the street, turned around, and figured out the general terrain of the town. Then he inadvertently walked around the location of the minister's mansion, observing the surrounding environment, looking for infiltration routes and planning exit routes. After getting a general understanding of these geographical conditions, Mochizuki Hyu began to look for his target, the minister who advocated taking action against Konoha. I have to say, he was really cautious. After 2 days of observation, Mochizuki Hyu found that the minister seemed to have guessed that Konoha might attack him, or was asked by the daimyo. The minister spends most of the day with that daimyo, and only returns to his mansion when he rests at night. And after returning to his mansion, he didn't have fun, just read a book boringly, sometimes smashed something, and went to sleep with anger. Therefore, judging from his performance, this should be a person with a bad temper, and the reason why he is so regular and cautious is that he is restrained by external forces. In other words, the daimyo had already guessed that there would be ninjas who would assassinate the minister. The intention to join the war and declare war on the nation of fire also came from this daimyo. Speaking of this minister, his life trajectory is very simple, and his guards are not weak at all. Advertisement, because there are more than a dozen guards by his side no matter when and where. Moreover, Mochizuki also sensed that in the dark, there were 6 ninjas and the perception ninja, a total of 7 ninjas, who were protecting him almost all the time 24 hours a day. But Mochizuki noticed that these 7 ninjas were not the same group. There are 4 ninjas in a group. One of those 4 ninjas is J-Ring Nin, and the remaining 3 are Chunin. And that perception ninja is in the same group as the other 2 Chunin, and the strength of the perception ninja should be like an elite Chunin. But because the special sentient ability reaches J-Ring Nin level, that sentient ninja should be special J-Ring Nin. In other words, beside this minister alone, there are 2 J-Ring Nin and 5 Chunin. In addition to the sentient ninja who protects this daimyo, and 1 J-Ring Nin and 5 Chunin, the guard force of these 2 people alone has 4 J-Ring Nin and 10 Chunin. This is just a small country. There are not many ninjas in the ninja villages in the country. It is very unreasonable to protect these 2 with such a strong force as 4 J-Ring Nin and 10 Chunin. So there is only one possibility. Those 2 sentient ninjas and the 4 Chunin they lead belong to this country, but the other 2 secret J-Ring Nin and the 6 Chunin they lead do not. Senju Tobirama can get the news, know the country's intention to participate in the war, and make a decision to assassinate. Then several other big countries may also get the news and they'll make a decision to prevent Konoha's assassination. And this country is geographically located between the land of fire and the land of wind, so there is only one possibility. The other 2 J-Ring Nin and 6 Chunin who secretly protect the minister and the daimyo are Tsunagakyo's ninja squad. Advertisement. Because once this country declares war on the nation of fire, Tsunagakyo will be under less pressure in the war with Konoha, turning the tide of the war that has begun to decline. So, they sent 2 teams of ninjas to protect the minister and the daimyo. The 2 perception ninjas naturally sensed the 2 teams of Tsunagakyo ninjas, but after realizing the intention of the other party, they pretended not to know. After finding out the situation here, Mochizuki's heart sank. It was not very difficult for him to assassinate the minister, because he was confident that he could sneak into the minister's mansion without being found. The difficulty is how to do it quietly, complete the task without anyone noticing and leave safely. Because once exposed during the assassination or after the successful assassination, facing the secret Tsunagakyo ninja, Mochizuki didn't feel that he was his opponent, and he didn't have the confidence to leave safely. And forcibly exchange one's own life for another, it doesn't exist. It's absolutely impossible. So, Mochizuki needs to plan well. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 40 Successful Assassination ! Mochizuki knows that if he wants to accomplish this task, he must not fight hard, but outsmart him. Although the opponent's guarding force is very strong, he also has his own advantages. The opponent's perception ninja can't perceive him, which is Mochizuki's biggest advantage. After another 3 days of observation and preparation, Mochizuki went into action. On this day, the minister came back from Daming Mansion in the normal afternoon, and before he came back, a ninja had carefully checked his bedroom to make sure there was no danger. After eating the confirmed non-toxic dinner, the minister vented to the absolutely safe female slave in the mansion with an irritable mood. He was grounded by the daimyo, he couldn't leave the mansion, and he couldn't let too many people in the mansion, so he completely lost his usual entertainment activities, and could only vent his animal desires boringly. After venting, the minister told the female slave to go away, and slowly fell asleep with emptiness and exhaustion. Outside his bedroom, more than a dozen guards were standing guard and patrolling. In the dark, 7 ninjas are watching at any time. The perception ninja will conduct a comprehensive perception of the entire mansion every hour, and will randomly perceive it once or twice during the period to ensure that no ninja will appear here. Here, it is guarded like a railroad, watertight. Yet Mochizuki came in. Advertisement. Before the minister came back, when the ninjas were away, he entered the minister's mansion, hiding in the passage he had dug in the past few days. This passage is so small that an adult's body can't get in at all. Only the small body of a 7-year-old like Mochizuki can enter it. Moreover, even if Mochizuki enters it, it needs to crawl in it bit by bit. At this time, there is only one hole in the passage, which is not far from the minister's bedroom, in the fish pond. So, this is actually a water hole, filled with water. Normal people in it, if they can't leave quickly, will definitely drown and die because they can't breathe. But Mochizuki is not an ordinary person. His body is different from normal people, and he cannot breathe for a longer period of time than ordinary people. Moreover, the fish pond is not far from the minister's bedroom, and it only takes more than 10 minutes for Mochizuki to enter it, from the entrance of the passage to the bottom of the minister's bedroom. At a certain moment in the middle of the night, a crack suddenly appeared on the floor of the minister's bedroom, and then floated gently, and was slowly lifted from the ground. The cracks in the board did not make a sound, because the lower part of the board was scratched by Mochizuki with a kunai, leaving only a layer still connected. From the outside, there is no trace of passiveness at all, but it is actually very fragile. In addition to the snoring of the sleeping minister, even if there was a slight sound, it was drowned in the snoring, and no one could hear it. After the board was lifted, the naked Mochizuki came out of the hole. Here is another hole in his passage, the hole that has just been made now. Advertisement. The reason for being naked is not because he has exhibitionism, but because wearing clothes will bring a lot of water, making it difficult for him to move. It would be much better to be naked, as there are only some small drops of water on his body at this time. After coming out of the cave, Mochizuki carefully took out the kunai and thin thread in the cave, and then began to set up traps. This trap was carefully designed by Mochizuki specifically for the kunai trap prepared for the assassination. In the process of arranging traps, Mochizuki was very careful and arranged them at a very slow pace. Finally, he got everything done, Only the mechanism that triggered the trap remained. It was an extremely thin thread, fixed by him by the door. As long as someone pushed the door, the trap would be triggered. According to Mochizuki Hui's observation, this minister is a luxurious and licentious person. He can't get up in the morning by himself, but every morning, the daimyo will ask him to go to the daimyo mansion on time. So every morning, someone will enter his bedroom to wake him up, and help him get up. And as long as someone pushes the door, the kunai trap set by Mochizuki Hui will completely kill the minister on the bed. In this regard, Mochizuki Hui is confident, because this minister is a nobleman with no power to restrain a chicken. He will definitely not be able to avoid sudden attacks and killings. After doing all this, Mochizuki Hui left from the hole again. This channel will definitely be discovered, but it doesn't matter anymore. Advertisement. After entering the pool from the channel, Mochizuki Hui moved carefully on the bottom of the pool, leaning against the edge, until a certain place on the other side of the pool, before entering another channel. This passage is not long, only a short distance, about 2 or 3 meters, and the other end of the exit is under a tree beside the mansion's pool. After coming out from under the tree, Mochizuki Hui slipped away without a sound. Whether it was the guards or the ninjas, the focus was on the vicinity of the minister's bedroom, and they slipped away from here without anyone noticing. Moreover, although they guessed that Konoha would send someone to assassinate them, they have been guarding for many days and there has been no change, so their spirits have long been relaxed. As long as the sentient ninjas don't sense the presence of other chakras, as long as there's no big movement in that minister's room, as long as the minister's snoring is still going on, from their point of view, there will be no problem. Therefore, Mochizuki Hui's action this time was very successful. Just wait until tomorrow morning. The next morning came quickly, and Mochizuki Hui was still the image of a little beggar. He was sitting in a corner of the street, and his eyes could just see the gate of the minister's mansion. At a certain moment, he saw someone rushing out of the gate in panic, heading straight for the daimyo mansion. Not long after that, the daimyo hurried over with more than a dozen guards and entered the minister's mansion. The corner of Mochizuki Hui's mouth raised. The assassination mission was successful. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 41 War Situation. When the daimyo heard the news that the minister had been assassinated and died, he was full of disbelief and felt extremely absurd. But when he saw the minister's body with his own eyes and learned how the minister died, the daimyo felt terrified instantly. It is not difficult to deduce how the minister died from the traces at the scene. In addition to the obvious hole and passage that was not dealt with at all, this is completely a warning. Obviously, the other party was telling him that they could kill the minister vice admiral under the protection of an iron barrel, so they could also kill him, the daimyo, under the protection of the same power. This made daimyo panic. Although I know that ninja is a very powerful and strange existence, but many things can only be understood how terrible it is after experiencing it personally. He has great ambitions, he wants a piece of the war, but he is afraid of death. Therefore, the daimyo made it clear during the meeting that day that his country gave up its plan to join the ninja world war and continued to remain neutral. In this way, Mochizuki Hui's task can be regarded as completely completed, and the goal has been achieved. And the ninjas of the two teams of Tsunagakure also left disheartened in unwillingness and embarrassment. This time they were ashamed. Fortunately, they were in the dark from the beginning to the end, and did not announce in a high-profile manner that they were responsible for the safety of the minister and the daimyo, otherwise it would only be more embarrassing. This country's statement quickly spread to several nearby small countries, causing a chain reaction. Advertisement. Seeing this, some small countries extinguished the idea of AA joining the war and chose to remain neutral. However, some small countries saw the strength of the Konoha shinobi village and chose to fall to the side of the country of fire. This further expanded the war advantage between Konoha and Tsunagakure, and the war situation on the battlefield here became more and more clear. After Senju Tobirama received Mochizuki Hui's mission report this time, he was very satisfied, and his evaluation of Mochizuki Hui went up to a higher level. To be honest, he has no idea about whether Mochizuki Hui can complete this task, but Mochizuki Hui did not let him down. He completed the task perfectly and performed extremely well. This brings Senju Tobirama to a decision. In fact, it is not only the battlefield between Konoha and Tsunagakure here, not only this small neutral country, not only Mochizuki Hui is acting. Konoha and Bu attacked wildly during this period, all targeting war radicals in various countries, and began a large-scale assassination. Although some of the assassinations failed, most of them were successful, and many war radicals from other countries were assassinated in a short period of time. This made other higher-level officials in various countries hang in their hearts, fearing that they would be the next target to be assassinated. At the same time, some high-level officials from other countries who were bought by Konoha began to say, Konoha did this just to end this ridiculous war. As long as the war stops, there will be no more assassinations. Lead those high-level countries to abandon the war. Advertisement. These guides are still useful. To be honest, the high-level leaders of many countries have long since wanted to stop the war to the point where it is now. Even though ninjas are the main body of the ninja war this time, and their army does not need to be on the field, war funds are needed for war. They are all responsible for the war expenses of ninja village in their country. It's okay if the war is won or a lot of benefits are obtained. After all, if the investment pays off, some risks can still be borne. But this war is getting worse and worse, and even now the battle is going against them, and a war that sees no benefits and no gains is of no use to them at all. As a result, without the obstruction of many war radicals, high-level officials from various countries began to put pressure on ninja village in their own country, telling them to end the war. This makes the ninja villages of various countries, especially the 4 ninja villages of the 4 major countries, feel aggrieved and helpless. They also want to engage in assassination and political interference like Konoha, but their ninja village does not have a ninja team like Hanbu that specializes in these activities. Moreover, what the 4 great ninja villages have to face is not only the high level of their country urging them to end the war. The people in Ninja Village were also dissatisfied with the loss of the war, the loss of their loved ones and the reduced quality of life, and began to show anti-war sentiments. Advertisement. In this way, it becomes more difficult for this war to continue, but they were still unwilling. Finally, the godlike man Senju Hashirama died, and the dark clouds that had hung over their heads for so many years dissipated, making them feel that Konoha was no longer so invincible. Their 4 villages, together with many Xenon villages, beat Konoha together, and in the end it turned out to be like this. This is too embarrassing for them to accept. Therefore, under various pressures, the shadows of the 4 great ninja villages made the final war decision. They were unwilling to leave in such a disheveled manner, and wanted to make a final counterattack. If you succeed, you can take down Konoha in one fell swoop, seize the rich land of the Fire Country as spoils of war, and even carve up the Fire Country, so that the Fire Country will make Konoha village a complete history. But if they fail, then this war will have no face to continue fighting. Let's go back to each family and find each mother. So under the decision of the 4 major ninja villages, the entire ninja world ushered in the final climax of war. The first ninja war has reached the most critical period. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 42 We won! The final battle of the Ninja World War broke out, and it was the final counterattack from the 4 major ninja villages. But this war has nothing to do with Mochizuki Hyuga. He is just a little Anbu, only 7 years old, and his strength is not even that of J.A. Ring-nin, so he can't affect the final result of the war at all. And let alone J.A. Ring-nin, in such a ninja world war, even an elite J.A. Ring-nin can't control the situation of the battle, because this is a war of tens of thousands of people, a life and death confrontation where the power of many people gathers, and the power of individuals is insignificant in it. Unless it is someone with particularly outstanding strength, such as the shadow of the 5 great ninja villages in the past, such as Uchiha Madara, such as the help of the Tailed Orc, such as other cage-level powerhouses. With their own strength alone, they can guide the direction of the war and change the outcome of the war. Or a person with particularly superior intelligence can formulate the best tactics for the troops in the ninja village, so that the overall force can gain a greater advantage at the tactical level and tilt the balance of victory. For example, the future Narushikamaru and Narushikamaru. Mochizuki Hyuga this time is neither of these 2 kinds of people. So, after completing that assassination mission, Mochizuki Hyuga was completely idle again. He was ordered to wait for the next order in Konoha Shinobi village, in order to keep him away from the battlefield. When the final battle broke out, Senju Tobirama didn't dare to let Mochizuki continue to appear on the battlefield, for fear that something might happen to him. And Mochizuki Hyuga also understands that his current strength is still very weak, and he will not be of much help if he goes to the battlefield, and even at some critical moments, he may become a burden to Senju Tobirama. So he stayed in Konoha village obediently, practicing while waiting for the end of the war. Not only him, but also Tsunade and Okimaru. The 3 also stopped all missions and stayed in Konoha village. After all, their leading teacher, Sarutobi Hiruzen, is an excellent ninja. At such a critical time, he must be on the front line of the war. This keeps Mochizuki Hyuga from being boring. Advertisement. After all, he is not worried about this war. He didn't think that he, a little butterfly that hadn't grown up, could change the outcome of the first Ninja World War. Waiting is always suffering, especially waiting for the results you care about. During the outbreak of the final war, the entire Konoha village seemed to have become deserted. There are very few ninjas in the village, and even if there are, they are just some young genin in the defense force that must be left behind. In this battle, the entire Konoha village was almost overwhelmed. Once it fails, it will be an unbearable consequence. The villagers rarely smiled, but all looked serious and worried. Everyone is waiting for the result of the war and always pays attention to the news from the front. In this atmosphere, Mochizuki Hyuga also began to worry. Although it is just a little butterfly that has not yet grown up, it has done some things on the battlefield after all. He didn't know whether these small things would cause some unpredictable changes, which would lead to changes in the final outcome of the war. Because of caring, it affected his original rationality and calmness. On this day, the weather was clear, the sky was cloudy, and the wind was light. The village was still as deserted as before, and many people didn't want to come out, but stayed at home, staring into the distance from the window in a daze, praying silently in their hearts. On a training ground in the village, the sound of tuk-tuk can be heard from time to time. It was the sound of shuriken and kunai hitting a wooden target. Advertisement. 4 young figures, in the training field in several places. Mochizuki Hyuga is practicing shuriken technique. Every time he throws shuriken and kunai, he can hit the wooden target, and most of them hit the bullseye. There's something weird about this, because in the past, without any interference, it was impossible for Mochizuki Hyuga to throw kunai and shuriken to a place other than the bullseye. It was obvious that he was absent-minded. Not far from Mochizuki Hyuga, Tsunade sat on a chair to rest, looking at Mochizuki Hyuga, but her eyes were blurred. She was distracted. In the corner of the training field, Okimaru stood in the lawn, staring at the dead leaves in his hand in a daze, not knowing what he was thinking. As for Jiraiya, he wanted to talk to someone, but seeing the status of the 3 friends, he just lay on the tree and thought about it. At a certain moment, the quiet village suddenly became a riot. Gradually there was a sound, and it gradually became louder. This caught the attention of the 4 of them. What happened? Jiraiya got up and stood on the tree looking around. He was very curious. As for Mochizuki Hyuga, he stopped the repetitive movements in his hands, closed his eyes and listened carefully to the increasingly noisy voice. Tsunade and Okimaru also looked in the direction of the voice from the village outside the training ground, with doubts on their faces. Finally, the corners of Mochizuki Hyuga's mouth were raised high, showing a happy smile. He could hear the voices coming from the village. Advertisement. That was the news of victory in a distant war. We won. When he spoke, the 3 of Tsunade were taken aback for a moment, and then all 3 of them showed surprise expressions on their faces. War? Is the war won? Tsunade didn't dare to confirm and asked again, for fear that he had misheard Mochizuki Hyuga's words. Yes, we have won this war. Mochizuki Hyuga opened his mouth heavily. Won. This war, Konoha village won. The entire ninja village began to become lively, as if it had regained its vigor and vitality. The 4 of Mochizuki Hyuga ran in the village, and many children and teenagers ran in the village. They ran over and over again, shouting loudly, "We have won! The war has been won!" People who heard the voice poured out of their homes with surprise on their faces. Slowly, the streets of the village were full of people. Everyone is shouting loudly, "We won!" Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 43 Returning. Passing away. Something to protect in the heart. On this day, the whole Konoha was filled with joy, and almost all the people gathered at the gate of the village, on both sides of the road, waiting eagerly. This is a spontaneously organized welcome ceremony to welcome Konoha's heroes back to the village. Mochizuki Hyuga was also among the crowd, and he was also looking forward to the distance, where the Konoha heroes returned. At a certain moment, someone slowly appeared at the end of the road. The person in charge is the second Hokage-sama, Senju Tobirama, and behind him are the patriarchs of the major ninja clans, Hyuga, Yukaiha, Sarutobi, Shimura, Nara. Behind them, there are outstanding ninjas, who straightened their chests and walked forward proudly. These people are all heroes of Konoha, because of their existence and protection. Konoha village was not affected by the war and became a rare pure land in the ninja world. My lord, second generation. When Senju Tobirama approached, the crowd erupted into shouts. Countless people shouted with joy and excitement on their faces. The voices of many teenagers and children are the most joyful, and the tone is full of admiration and admiration. Then, it was the patriarchs of the ninja clan. After they approached, their clansmen were also cheering and shouting their names. There are also ninja troops that follow. When people see their acquaintances, they will greet them warmly. When they see their relatives, they will cover their mouths with excitement and burst into tears. The whole Konoha seemed to be immersed in a sea of joy. However, some people were crying silently, because among the returned ninja troops, they could not see their children and husbands who went to the battlefield. Advertisement. Mochizuki Hyuga looked at the returning people with a smile on his face. He looked at the faces he didn't know but seemed to have known each other, and his heart gradually calmed down. The whole welcome ceremony was not long, because there were not many ninjas returning to the village, and more ninjas silently returned to various borders of the Land of Fire to continue stationing, forming layers of defense lines to protect Konoha village. They, completely unable to enjoy this moment of glory, are unknown heroes. The crowd slowly entered the village following the returning troops. This was a moment of joy, a moment of reunion, and a moment of reunion. Mochizuki Hyuga looked at the end of the empty road, where he seemed to see two people. They wear masks and look at Mochizuki Hyuga from a distance, then waved to Mochizuki Hyuga, and they walked slowly into the distance together. The figure gradually became transparent, and finally disappeared. "Mom, why didn't Dad come back? Uncle Yoshida is back." Mochizuki Hyuga was awakened by an immature voice. He looked for the voice and saw that it was a little girl who was only 3 or 4 years old. Her delicate little face was full of doubts, and her big eyes were misty. At this time, he was looking up at his mother, as if disappointed because he didn't see his father. As for the little girl's mother, she covered her mouth with one hand, and tightly held the bloody handkerchief Yoshida gave her with the other, tears bursting in her eyes. "Mom, why are you crying? If you don't cry, you won't be a good child." Seeing her mother like this, the little girl hurriedly spoke seriously, while raising her hand high, as if she wanted to wipe away tears for her mother, but she was too small, and her hand could only reach the position of her mother's lower abdomen. When the mother heard this, her emotions seemed to be slowly breaking down. She knelt down, hugged her daughter, and sobbed, "Your father ... he will never come back." The woman opened her mouth in grief, and the tears flowed uncontrollably, making the little girl in her arms at a loss. Advertisement. "Mom, why didn't Dad come back?" She was puzzled. Obviously Uncle Yoshida was back, and her father promised her when he left that he would be back in a few days. Although she didn't know how long a few days were, she felt that it had been a long time. Because your father is a hero, and a hero has to do a lot of tasks. He went to a faraway place to perform a mission, so he can only come back after completing the mission. A warm voice sounded, and the little girl looked up, and saw a delicate and good-looking little brother looking at her. "Ying. Hero?" The little girl still doesn't know what a hero is, she asked full of doubts. "Hero, someone like Grandpa second Hokage." "Wow, is my dad like Grandpa Hokage? Then, when will he come back?" "He said he would come back to celebrate my birthday with me." The little girl spoke excitedly but puzzled, her tone full of expectation and grievance. "When you grow up, he will come back." "Really?" When the little girl heard this, her eyes were full of anticipation. "Of course it's true. When you grow up, he will come back from afar with a gift for you." Mochizuki Hyuga spoke seriously, looking at the little girl's pure and expectant eyes. He suddenly couldn't bear it. Advertisement. "Great, then I must grow up quickly, so that Dad can come back soon." "Mom, let's go home. I want to drink a lot of milk, eat a lot of food seriously, so that I can hurry up grown up." The little girl watched her mother seriously speak, her tone full of expectation. The woman bit her lips when she heard this, then wiped away her tears, held the little girl's face and said, "Okay, let's go home." Then, she stood up, bowed slightly to Mochizuki Hyuga, and said, "Thank you." Then, she took the little girl away slowly. Mochizuki Hyuga looked at the backs of the two leaving, and said loudly, If there is any difficulty, you can go to the Senju clan to find me. You and the village are things he guarded with his life. If he leaves, the village will definitely protect you in his place." Hearing this, the woman turned around and looked at Mochizuki Hyuga blankly, as if she saw the person she had been thinking about day and night appearing beside the Mochizuki Hyuga. "Thanks." She spoke again, and slowly walked away with the figure of the child. Under the sun, the 7-year-old boy stood like this, looking at the place where the two left, the joy and sorrow of other people on the street, and the people returning home slowly. At a certain moment, his hand was held by someone, and a force led him forward. "Come home, Hyuga. Let's celebrate Grandpa Tobirama." Feeling Tsunade's warm little hands, watching people appear and disappear from their eyes, Mochizuki Hyuga suddenly understood in his heart that these are the things he wants to protect. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 44 Teaching. Encountering Might Die. In Konoha's training ground, two figures, one large and one small, were quickly attacking with swords. When the iron swords collided, Sparks flew and tinkled. At a certain moment, after a ball of light bloomed, the two stopped. That's right. You've made great progress, and the sword technique just now is very interesting and very thoughtful. It seems that you are already actively developing and using the energy in your body. Senju Tobirama nodded in satisfaction, looked at Mochizuki Hyuga who drew his sword, and praised him. This kid has never let him down. Thanks to the teaching of Grandpa Tobirama. Mochizuki Hyuga said that after the war, Senju Tobirama was able to take time out of the hectic post-war work to test his growth and strength, which is enough to prove how much Senju Tobirama values him. That's not my guide, Hyuga. Your strength has improved steadily, and your physical skills, sword skills, and combat experience have all improved a lot compared to before. The only thing restricting your growth now is probably your body. Senju Tobirama said that during the duel with Mochizuki Hyuga just now, he had already mastered the information of Mochizuki Hyuga's strength at this time. Absolute Elite Chunin level. Advertisement. Elite Chunin. Sounds weak, but don't forget, Mochizuki Hyuga is only 7 years old. How many people at his age have such strength? Anyway, this is the only person Senju Tobirama has met in his life. Even his older brother, Senju Hashirama, known as the god of ninja, was just a weak chicken at the age of 7. Uchiha Madara is also. However, the future of the ninja is difficult to determine. How far it can grow in the end depends on too many factors. Bloodline talent, savvy will, ideological awareness, chance and luck, and even growth environment. All these factors affect a person's growth. As far as Mochizuki Hyuga is concerned, there is no problem with his ideological awareness, comprehension and will. His growth environment is no problem, and his luck seems to be no problem. His biggest problem is his blood talent. After all, Mochizuki Hyuga can't extract chakra, so he can't use many ninja methods, which greatly limits his growth. But the mysterious power in Mochizuki Hyuga's body gave him a lot of growth potential and made his future have unlimited possibilities. As long as the energy in Mochizuki Hyuga's body can grow all the time, it doesn't even need a lot. As long as it grows to the same amount as an ordinary J-A-Ring Nin chakra, Senju Tobirama has the confidence to train Mochizuki Hyuga to become an elite J-A-Ring Nin. However, there is still room for improvement in these techniques of yours. How about this? I will teach you in the days to come. After thinking for a while, Senju Tobirama spoke seriously, which made Mochizuki Hyuga startled. Senju Tobirama is Hokage. He is very busy on weekdays. Can he spare time to teach him? Moreover, is this to treat him as a student? Thinking, Mochizuki Hyuga cast a suspicious look at Senju Tobirama. Looking at Mochizuki Hyuga's suspicious eyes, Senju Tobirama saw through Mochizuki Hyuga's thoughts at once. He had black lines, but he still opened his mouth to explain. What are you thinking? It is of course my shadow clone who is here to guide you. Advertisement. As soon as these words came out, Mochizuki Hyuga suddenly realized he has never used ninjutsu himself, and almost forgot that for ninjas, there is such a plug-in ninjutsu as shadow clone. I don't think too much. I have no reason to trust Grandpa Tobirama from the beginning to the end. Mochizuki Hyuga quickly refuted, but accidentally exposed his thoughts. Looking at Senju Tobirama's playful smile, he secretly thought it was not good, and was about to pretend to be cute to pass the test, but saw Senju Tobirama put away his smile, looked at the sky, and then said, "It's getting late, let's go here today." After Senju Tobirama finished speaking, the person turned into a cloud of white smoke and dissipated, making Mochizuki Hyuga dumbfounded, and then his face turned black. The training ground is on the edge of Konoha village, far from his home and Senju's home. Senju Tobirama could have taken him away with Flying Thunder God, but instead let him walk back by himself. This is definitely revenge. Isn't it just suspicious? So stingy. Mochizuki Hyuga rolled his eyes, but he had no choice but to go home alone. It was already dusk, and Mochizuki Hyuga was walking alone on the empty path. At a certain moment, his footsteps stopped, and he heard a rustling sound coming from the forest. Then, Mochizuki Hyuga saw a boy running out of the forest. Advertisement. He was panting, his face was covered with sweat, his feet were sloppy, and he was obviously very tired and exhausted. "Just hold on for a lap, and you'll be fine," the boy muttered, and dragged his heavy body step by step to run. Although it seemed that he would fall due to exhaustion in the next second, he never fell down, and his steps never stopped. After the boy ran out of the forest, he also saw Mochizuki Hyuga alone. He slowed down, stopped at last, looked at Mochizuki Hyuga and said, "Little friend, are you lost? Do you want me to take you home?" Hearing this, Mochizuki Hyuga looked at the boy's familiar but unfamiliar face, and said, "I'm not lost. I'm just taking a walk in the village." "Are you exercising?" "Yeah, I'm practicing my physical skills, and I'm going to be a hero like Hokage in the future." The young man pulled himself together and spoke in a tone that he was not very confident about. "Really? I believe you, because someone told me that hard work will never fail. You will definitely become a hero in the future. Come on." Mochizuki Hyuga spoke seriously, and then left. The stunned boy was left behind, staring at Mochizuki Hyuga's back in the setting sun, in a daze. Then, with a big smile on his face, he stretched out his hand and gave a thumbs up to Mochizuki Hyuga's back, and said loudly, "Thank you for your encouragement. My name is Dai, and I will definitely become the hero of the village in the future." Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 45, Teachings from Senju Tobirama. From that day on, Mochizuki Hyuga began to practice under the guidance of Senju Tobirama. It has to be said that Senju Tobirama deserves to be an all-round ninja, whether it is ninjutsu, physical technique, illusion, swordsmanship. There is no one who is not a grandmaster. Under the teaching of Senju Tobirama, Mochizuki Hyuga's strength has improved rapidly, but because of physical limitations, his strength has not improved too much. But despite this, Mochizuki Hyuga is also growing at a very fast speed under the guidance of Senju Tobirama. Konoha is 17 years old, and Mochizuki Hyuga is 7 years old. This year ended because of the Great War, and there was too much work after the war. Senju Tobirama sometimes couldn't use Shadow Clone, so he taught Mochizuki Hyuga more about the foundation, and laid the foundation for Mochizuki Hyuga for a year. In the 18th year of Konoha, the village began to develop in an orderly manner under a year's planning and development. Although there were still many things to do in the village, Senju Tobirama already had more time to teach Mochizuki Hue. So this year, Senju Tobirama taught Mochizuki Hue mainly swordsmanship and physical arts. In just 1 year, Mochizuki Hue's swordsmanship and physical skills have reached the point of being special J-ring nin. In the 19th year of Konoha, Senju Tobirama began to let Mochizuki Hue learn a lot about the nature of energy and the nature of art. He is cultivating Mochizuki Hue's thinking on the analysis and application of energy, and teaching Mochizuki Hue some methods of creating techniques. Then, he began to guide Mochizuki Hue to conduct independent research, independently develop and use the mysterious power in his body, to create the art unique to Mochizuki Hue. Advertisement. This is important because after many analyses and studies, Senju Tobirama has long understood that the essence of energy in Mochizuki Hue's body is light. In his opinion, the energy of light has high potential, and if it is used well, it is no worse than chakra. But because this kind of light energy is completely different from chakra, and only Mochizuki Hue can master and use light, so he can't research some techniques based on the energy of light and hand it over to Mochizuki Hue. Only by teaching and passing on his own research concepts and method experience to Mochizuki Hue, let Mochizuki Hue create his own practice system. So in the 19th year of Konoha, Mochizuki Hue needs to learn a lot of knowledge every day, and spends his whole life studying Konoha for 20 years. After a year of study, Senju Tobirama began to let Mochizuki Hue create jutsu by himself. He first tasked Mochizuki Hue to describe the effect of the technique he wanted to create, its advantages and disadvantages, the principle of a technique, its application, technical difficulties, how to overcome technical difficulties, the stages of creating the technique, the purpose of each stage, etc. After writing it down, give it to him to read it first, and let Mochizuki Hue practice it if he thinks there is no problem. And during the process of Mochizuki Hue's creation technique, he will keep an eye on Mochizuki Hue at any time. Once Mochizuki Hue is in danger during the creation technique, he can interrupt it. Therefore, Mochizuki Hue spent this year in writing papers and experimenting with creative techniques. In 1 year, Mochizuki Hue created several useful techniques, which satisfied Senju Tobirama. Then, Senju Tobirama began to transform the cultivation of Mochizuki Hue. He began to cultivate Mochizuki Hue's political awareness and thinking, cultivate Mochizuki Hue's management ability, leadership ability, overall situation view, thinking about the future development of the ninja world, thinking about the future path of ninjas, thinking about how to develop ninja village. In short, it is to train Mochizuki Hue how to be a Hokage. Advertisement. This made Mochizuki Hue speechless. He was only 10 years old at this time. It was too early for him to think about these things. So Mochizuki Hue threw Wang Zhang out. Grandpa Tobirama, I seem to be able to extract chakra. On that day, Mochizuki Hue rushed into Hokage's office excitedly. While talking, he extracted chakra from his body, and a shadow clone appeared as soon as his handprints were formed. Senju Tobirama was dumbfounded on the spot. He looked at Mochizuki Hue's shadow clone and felt the chakra appearing in Mochizuki Hue's body, and his mentality almost exploded. I spent 3 years teaching you to create the light energy system, and now you have achieved a little bit. You tell me you can extract chakra? ? There were black lines all over his head for a moment, but he was immediately overwhelmed by the emotion of surprise. What does it mean for Mochizuki Hue to have chakra? It means that his growth ability is higher, and he can learn those forbidden techniques created by himself, which can increase his strength quickly. What's the matter with your chakra? How can you suddenly extract chakra? After chakra is extracted, does it conflict with the light energy in your body? Senju Tobirama asked, although he was pleasantly surprised, but he still needs to understand the condition of Mochizuki Hue's body first, for fear that the two energies in Mochizuki Hue's body cannot coexist and there will be some energy conflict. I don't know very well. I was just too bored just now, so I tried the method of extracting chakra. I didn't expect it to succeed. Senju Tobirama. He was speechless. This kind of thing can happen. It's outrageous. Advertisement. Then, Mochizuki Hue had a tragedy. Originally, the reason why he broke chakra was to use the reason of learning ninjutsu and creating ninjutsu as an excuse to avoid learning the basic literacy of a Hokage. As a result, Senju Tobirama asked him to learn the two together on the grounds that ninjutsu is easy to learn, and you also have the thinking to create ninjutsu, and made a full schedule arranged from morning to night. Senju Tobirama handed the schedule to Mochizuki Hue with a satisfied face, and said to Mochizuki Hue, very good, no time wasted at all. The arrangement is just right. From now on, you can live according to this schedule. Taking the schedule from Senju Tobirama, Mochizuki Hue looked at the dense arrangement and was dumbfounded. I'm so stupid. Really, I shouldn't have exposed my chakra. Isn't it good to secretly learn ninjutsu as a trump card? It's not that they can't get in touch with the sealed book. Why would I do such a stupid thing? Thinking about it, Mochizuki Hue burst into tears in his heart. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 46. 11-year-old Mochizuki Hue. 10 years after Konoha, Mochizuki Hue felt like he was living in hell. From 6 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock in the evening, his life was fully arranged, which made him feel as if he had returned to his senior year in high school when he did not time travel. It's just horrible. Of course, after such a year, he has gained a lot, and his overall strength has been greatly increased. In terms of ninjutsu, because his chakra has all attributes, he has learned almost everything that should be learned and can be learned, but it does not include some forbidden techniques, such as impure world reincarnation, spiritualization technique, tandem paper bombs, etc. Because Senju Tobirama won't let me learn. As for the flying thunder god technique, Senju Tobirama wants Mochizuki Hue to learn it, but Mochizuki Hue's physique has not yet evolved space ability, nor can he perceive space energy, so he can't learn it at all. Even so, Mochizuki Hyu is good enough. It's just that the amount of chakra is restricting his performance. Otherwise, Mochizuki Hyu will feel that he is invincible. But after thinking about the family of Oetsutsuki Kaguya, and thinking about the future gangsters, Mochizuki Hyu felt that he was still far away. Therefore, Loki is king. Not only the growth in strength, Mochizuki Hyu also grew together, but also knowledge. This year, it should be said that in the past few years, he has been studying almost every day and never relaxes. In addition to his savvy and intelligence, even though Mochizuki Hyu is only 11 years old now, his knowledge reserve has reached a height that many people can't reach in a lifetime. This is his soft power, but also his very important comprehensive strength. Advertisement. Ninjas are not only invincible with strong strength, IQ, EQ and combat experience are all crucial. This can be seen in the battle between Oetsutsuki Kaguya and Six Paths Zero Naru. If Oetsutsuki Kaguya had Yukai Hamadara's IQ, EQ and combat experience at that time, then the outcome of that battle would definitely have been different. It was an ordinary evening. Mochizuki Hyu was at his home, took out a piece of paper, and began to make a comprehensive summary of himself. Name, Mochizuki Hyu. Age, 11 years old. Konoha was born 10 years old. Plug-in, Yuan Chi. Already assimilated. Light energy, chakra, assimilating, natural energy. It is estimated that it will take another 5 or 6 years to assimilate. Hard power, chakra system. Body technique, Konoha fluid technique. Swordsmanship, Konoha style swordsmanship. Ninjutsu, there are some all attribute ninjutsu, too many to count. Illusion, technique in the darkness, Narakimi technique, fox heart technique, Xia follower technique, tree binding technique, etc. Light energy system, swordsmanship, silver moon, light, etc. Techniques of other light energy systems. Several. Advertisement. The technique of the light energy system will not be written in detail here, and will be described in detail later in the article. Soft power, massive knowledge reserves, doctoral level in the ninja world. Advantages, handsome, erudition, wisdom, calmness, more than 1,000 words omitted. Disadvantage, the energy that can be used is only 1 card. Amount of Kakashi chakra. Overall strength, Elite J.A. Ring-Nin, 11 years old. Elite J.A. Ring-Nin. Although this evaluation was made by Mochizuki Hyu himself, this evaluation was affirmed by Senju Tobirama. Moreover, this is also a very fair evaluation. At this time, Mochizuki Hyu is actually a bit like Kakashi in the future. He also knows all kinds of ninjutsu, physical skills, and swordsmanship. He knows everything and is proficient. However, limited by the energy that can be used, the theoretical strongest strength cannot be perfectly exerted, so the strength is defined as Elite J.A. Ring-Nin. I didn't expect that the reason for limiting my strength would be mana. I really have nothing to say. Mochizuki Hyu complained to himself, and he was quite speechless about it. Let's talk about energy. In fact, Mochizuki Hyu has quite a lot of energy in his body. But these Yuan Chi are not under his control. They are assimilating natural energy on their own, and what he can control is only the power of 1 card. However, the energy that these Mochizuki Hyu can independently control is also increasing with the passage of time, and the current growth rate is almost a year to increase the power of 1 card. But it's okay, I just have a low amount of mana, but the speed of returning to mana is no problem at all. This is also what Mochizuki Hyu is quite satisfied with. He does not have much Yuan Chi at his disposal, but after the energy transformed by these Yuan Chi is consumed, it can be restored within a short period of time. Mochizuki Hyu made a comparison, and his recovery speed is about 5 times that of a normal ninja. Advertisement. In other words, if all the energy in the body is used up, if a ninja needs 5 hours to recover, he only needs 1 hour. It would be great if returning blue is as pervert as returning blood. Then I will directly use ninjutsu perpetual motion machine, ninja Gatling. Mochizuki Hyu aside, the blood recovery he mentioned here is aimed at the speed of physical recovery, and Mochizuki Hyu's physical recovery is very pervert. He once did exercise with Might Dai, and after a whole day, Might Dai was so tired that he lay motionless on the ground like a dead dog, but Mochizuki Hyu could do it again or several times. So, his physical fitness, in the words of Senju Tobirama, is like a tireless monster. Might Dai said that he didn't want to comment, and almost doubted life. The injury recovery speed is also very fast, but it is not as pervert as the physical recovery speed, which is only about 10 times that of ordinary ninjas. So, I'm actually stronger than Kakashi in Elite Ninja mode? Well, it can really be said that. I just don't know if it has reached the level of strength of Ying. Mochizuki Hyu talked to himself, and then suddenly a fire appeared in his hand, burning the paper. This is Muji Ninjutsu. But it cannot be said to be ninjutsu, because it is the direct use of chakra, and there is no Ji-Yin as the medium for using chakra. After all, a decent ninja, who made the seal, of course, because it is a direct application of chakra, and perhaps because of the different sources of chakra, the power used by Mochizuki Hyu is much smaller. Tomorrow is finally a day off. Let's go and accompany Tsunade. Thinking of Tsunade's appearance in his mind, the corners of Mochizuki Hyu's mouth twitched slightly. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 47 Sarutobi Hiruzen's troubles. It was another sunny day. The blue sky, the white clouds, and the slight cool breeze made people feel at ease. Not so for Sarutobi Hiruzen. At this moment, he was sitting alone on the rest chair in the training ground, staring at the 3 disciples in a daze in the distance. Okimaru was seriously practicing ninjutsu, and the land not far in front of him softened from time to time and turned into a swamp. This pleased Sarutobi Hiruzen. Okimaru was the once-in-a-100-year genius he'd seen, and the boy he'd seen. The second-day genius. Well, the first day was a little pervert taught by Mr. Tobirama. Pure boy. Okimaru is very talented, and every time he teaches something, he can always get started and learn it quickly. Moreover, Okimaru not only has excellent talent, but also has goals and ideals in his heart. He is a person and works hard. His future achievements will definitely not be low. For Orochimaru, Sarutobi Hiruzen has no other thoughts in his heart but satisfaction. With a relieved smile on the corner of his mouth, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at his other disciple, Tsunade, who was immersed in the practice of controlling chakra. Tsunade is the granddaughter of first Hokage, and has a grandfather who is a ninja god. Naturally, her talent cannot be worse. Moreover, Tsunade's talent is not bad at all, but excellent. She is also very quick to learn ninjutsu, and can quickly master what was taught to her. Advertisement. And not only talent, but her temperament and ideals are great. Although she is immersed in love, she is not a nympho. She can restrain herself and let herself focus on what she should do. So for Tsunade, Sarutobi Hiruzen is not worried at all. In his opinion, Tsunade's future achievements will not be low. He was also very satisfied with this disciple. A broken bar, looking at Jiraiya lying on the ground with a bored face, as if thinking of something unbearable, and occasionally showing a mean smile on his face. Sarutobi Hiruzen has black lines, but his face is full of helplessness. This disciple, in fact, is not bad at talent, but his heart is really careless, idle, and stubborn to death. He doesn't look like a ninja at all, and he doesn't have the consciousness of being a ninja at all. Moreover, his greatest wish after becoming a ninja is to win the hearts of all the pretty girls. This caused Sarutobi Hiruzen a headache, but he can't just watch Jiraiya idle like this. After all, he is his disciple, and he also has the same hobbies as him. Peeking at pretty girls taking a bath, cough cough cough. Anyway, no matter what, Sarutobi Hiruzen doesn't want Jiraiya to waste his talent like this, and finally become a mediocre ninja. Therefore, Sarutobi Hiruzen is very concerned about Jiraiya. He found that Jiraiya should lack a goal for him to work hard. Therefore, Sarutobi Hiruzen intends to give Jiraiya a direction to strive for. He used the summoning technique in front of Jiraiya to summon his own summoning beast tape demon, and told Jiraiya that this is summoning technique, a kind of space-time ninjutsu. Advertisement. This peculiar ninjutsu undoubtedly attracted Jiraiya. Sarutobi Hiruzen took this opportunity to teach Jiraiya carefully, and Jiraiya lived up to Sarutobi Hiruzen's expectations, and quickly memorized the sequence of this technique, showing a strong talent. Jiraiya, who had a direction of struggle, began to practice seriously from that day on. But after all, he was only attracted for a while, and his biggest goal was to win the heart of the beautiful young lady. The boring and short-term ineffective practice made him gradually lose motivation and become sloppy again. This made Sarutobi Hiruzen's head, which had finally recovered, hurt again. Why? Sighing heavily, Sarutobi Hiruzen began to think about how to make himself a disciple with a long-term goal that would allow him to persevere in his cultivation. Mr. Sarutobi, why did you suddenly sigh? This is not something you would do if you are confident and optimistic. A pleasant voice came from behind, making Sarutobi Hiruzen's body tense, but he relaxed again in an instant. He didn't even need to turn his head to look at the person. He knew who it was. It's Hue. You will come to accompany Tsunade on every rest day. You are really a qualified boyfriend. Looking at Mochizuki Hue sitting next to him, Sarutobi Hiruzen said, feeling emotional in his heart. As expected, he was the most talented young man he had ever seen. After not seeing him for a month, Hue's strength seemed to have strengthened again, and he was about to catch up with him. He was only 11 years old, and he was so good that it made people despair. Moreover, his excellence is not only in strength, but also in other aspects. Except for chakra, he has no shortcomings at all. If his disciple is Hue, no, he is no longer worthy of being Hue's teacher, because Hue is no weaker than him in many things, and Hue is even better than him in the creation of art and the essential knowledge of art. Advertisement. After all, it's the cutest Tsunade in my family by the way. Mr. Sarutobi, you haven't said why you sighed yet. I can't think of anything else that would make you react like this. Mochizuki Hue asked curiously. Sarutobi Hiruzen, as a disciple of second Hokage, is powerful in himself, and has been recognized by the whole village for his conduct. He is known as the person who is most likely to become third Hokage, because of Jiraiya. Sarutobi Hiruzen began to talk to Mochizuki Hue about Jiraiya's current situation, and he also wanted to see if Hue, an excellent boy, would have any good ways to solve this problem. After listening, Mochizuki Hue looked thoughtfully at Jiraiya, who was lying on the grass in the distance, occasionally showing a wretched smile. If he remembers correctly, Jiraiya was in this state at the beginning of the original book, and the reason why he can become the future Sannin heroes Jiraiya and Toad Sage is because of a turning point in the original book. In order to win Tsunade's heart, after hearing Tsunade's words that he would rather find Orochimaru than Jiraiya, in order to make Tsunade change his mind, Jiraiya used the summoning technique without making a contract with any creature, thus was reverse-engineered summoning to Mount Mai-A Ringboku. And Mount Mai-A Ringboku is the place that changed Jiraiya's life. But the situation is different now, because of the relationship between Tsunade and Mochizuki Hue, and because of the relationship between Mochizuki Hue and Jiraiya. Jiraiya has no idea about Tsunade, and naturally loses the motivation to practice. That's why there is Jiraiya who is 11 years old and still has no goals. This matter can be manipulated. I have a note. Do you want to try it? After Mochizuki Hue thought for a while, his eyes lit up, and he spoke to Sarutobi. Since because of him, Jiraiya lost the goal of practice and became confused. So let him wake Jiraiya up. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 48. Tasks for Jiraiya. After quickly telling Sarutobi Hiruzen about his plan, Mochizuki Hue walked slowly to Tsunade. At this time, Tsunade was still concentrating on controlling chakra. His heart was completely immersed, and he didn't know the arrival of Mochizuki Hue at all. On the contrary, Orochimaru, he had seen Mochizuki Hue long ago, but Orochimaru also knew that Mochizuki Hue was here to accompany Tsunade, so he was no stranger to it. And he was a little far away from Sarutobi Hiruzen and Mochizuki Hue, and he couldn't hear their conversation, so he thought it was an ordinary conversation. As for Jiraiya, he is still lost in his fantasy, lying on the lawn and giggling. After a while, Tsunade stopped her practice. She looked up and saw Mochizuki Hyuga, who was doting on her not far away. Hyuga opening his mouth in surprise. Tsunade ran over and jumped into Mochizuki Hyuga's arms and hugged him tightly. This surprised cheer also awakened Jiraiya from her fantasy. He got up, looked at the greasy and crooked Tsunade, and Mochizuki Hyuga curled his lips, but there was a look of envy in his eyes. He really wanted to have a beautiful young lady in his arms. Really, you two are enough. There are others here. Jiraiya became more and more angry, and spoke loudly to Mochizuki Hyuga and Tsunade. When Tsunade heard this, he also got off Mochizuki Hyuga and gave a cold snort to Jiraiya. Then, he took Mochizuki Hyuga's arm and began to complain. Advertisement. Grandpa Tobirama is too good. He only gives you 1 day off in a month. It's a black-hearted Hokage. Sarutobi Hiruzen heard the words from the side, and smiled awkwardly, with a helpless expression on his face. After all, Senju Tobirama is his teacher. Okay, it will gradually get better in the future. My practice is coming to an end. Mochizuki Hyuga stroked Tsunade's hair and spoke fondly, and Tsunade also showed a happy smile when he heard this. This made Jiraiya feel even more sad. Sweet love, when will it be my turn? He thought. By the way, Teacher Tobirama just tasked me to bring you a task. This is the task book. As Mochizuki Hyuga said, he took out a task book from his ninja bag and handed it to Sarutobi Hiruzen. This time, both Jiraiya and Orochimaru became curious, and Tsunade also wailed. I want to accompany Hyuga. I don't want to do the task. Sarutobi Hiruzen pretended not to hear this sentence. He opened the task book, looked at the content, and then spoke to several people. It's a D-level mission to find lost objects, and the goal of the mission is to find a heart-shaped red stone. The scope of the task is around the main road 5 kilometers outside the village and near Muking Lake 5 kilometers away, because the red stone was lost within this range. Advertisement. After Sarutobi Hiruzen finished speaking, Jiraiya's whole face collapsed, and he yelled, "What? It's this kind of task again? It's not interesting at all, and it's a broken stone. What is there to find?" Hearing this, Mochizuki Hyuga said, "Oh, I heard that the stone is a precious token of a girl, and it is said that it will be given to her future sweetheart. Because I went out of the village to play in Muking Lake yesterday, and found that I accidentally lost it when I came back, so I was very anxious and entrusted a task." Wow, it's so romantic. Hyuga, should I prepare a gift for you too? After hearing what Mochizuki Hyuga said, Tsunade's eyes lit up, and he looked at Mochizuki Hyuga. Ha ha ha, that's not necessary, because you are the best gift. Mochizuki Hyuga looked at Tsunade warmly and spoke, which made Tsunade blush, and Jiraiya cut it, and complained, "What kind of little aunt who can't get married is so childish? Little aunt who can't get married? How can that be? I heard from the ninja who issued the task that she is a beautiful 16-year-old sister." Mochizuki Hyuga immediately retorted when he heard this, but Jiraiya's eyes lit up. 16 years old, beautiful sister. This was too attractive to him. At this moment, he was already fantasizing about the adoring look she would look at him when he found the red stone and handed it to that pretty sister. A broken bar. Thinking about it, Jiraiya's saliva was about to flow down. Advertisement. He straightened his face immediately, and said loudly, "Mr. Sarutobi, let's go to carry out the task. Let's go. This is a task, we can't delay it at all." Saying that, he ran to Sarutobi Hiruzen and pushed him forward. Orochimaru looked at Mochizuki Hyuga strangely, and always felt that this matter was very strange, but for a while, he couldn't figure out what was so strange. And Tsunade, she is asking Mochizuki Hyuga, is that older sister beautiful, or she is beautiful? A group of people just pushed and shoved and walked towards the gate of the village, talking and laughing. This is just a mission to find lost items, and it is on a road within 5 kilometers of the village and by a small lake 5 kilometers away, so there is nothing to prepare. After all, this is a peaceful time, and this is a D-level mission, and there will be no enemies at all. Leaving the village went smoothly, although the people guarding the village were ninjas from the Uchiha clan. It was a time of peace. Seeing that Sarutobi Hiruzen was leading the team to carry out the mission, he didn't ask much. At the gate of the village, Jiraiya hurriedly said, "Mr. Sarutobi, you are responsible for searching near the road, and I will be responsible for going near Muking Lake. It is decided like this, I will go first." After speaking, the person has already run away quickly. Although he didn't have the consciousness to be a ninja, and he didn't want to study ninja knowledge carefully, but he knew that the stone was probably lost by the beautiful sister while playing by the lake. So, he must go there to look for it. When Mochizuki Hyuga and Sarutobi Hiruzen saw this, they looked at each other and understood everything, without saying a word. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 49. Start acting. Where is it? Where is it? Where is the red heart-shaped stone? By Muking Lake, Jiraiya was talking to himself while searching for quest items. Damn it, I can't find it at all. Could it be that it fell on the main road? After searching for more than 10 minutes, Jiraiya sat down on the lawn, wondering if she had found the wrong place. But he didn't notice that behind him, a black figure flashed quickly. "Jiraiya, how are you doing? Did you find the quest item?" A few minutes later, a voice sounded from far away, and Jiraiya saw Mochizuki Hyuga coming towards him. When he saw Mochizuki Hyuga, he thought that Mr. Sarutobi must have asked him to protect him. Really, it is obvious that Mochizuki Hyuga is not much better than my own. Why does Mr. Sarutobi keep saying that he is excellent? Jiraiya yelled inwardly, but she only pouted on the surface. And Mochizuki Hyuga, he quickly came to Jiraiya's side and started to implement his plan. "I didn't see it. It should be on Teacher Sarutobi's side." Jiraiya shrugged, then got up from the lawn, intending to check the main road. "Really? But it's much more likely that the mission item is here. It shouldn't be." Advertisement. Mochizuki Hyuga asked suspiciously, then looked at Jiraiya suspiciously. "You didn't look for it seriously at all, did you? I just saw you sitting here from afar." Hearing this, Jiraiya's heart tightened, but she immediately retorted loudly, "How is it possible? I searched carefully. The stone must not have fallen in this place." He said this with a confident expression on his face. Mochizuki Hyuga rolled his eyes when he heard this. "The devil will believe your words." "Forget it. I'll find it myself." After speaking, I began to search seriously. "Damn it, I told you that I searched for it," Jiraiya said angrily, but she was actually panicking, afraid that Mochizuki Hua would really find the stone. After all, he didn't seem to really search seriously. Thinking about it, Jiraiya became even more anxious, and he quickly started to search seriously. If the stone is really here, as long as he finds it before Mochizuki Hua, he can drop it on the way back to the main road, pretending that it fell on the main road in the first place. Mochizuki Hua, who pretended to be looking for the stone carefully, glanced away from the corner of his eye, thinking in his heart that the fish was hooked. But Jiraiya, after searching carefully, slowly entered the forest by the lake, and at a certain moment, he saw a touch of red under a tree. Jiraiya's eyes lit up, and he ran over quickly. Seeing this, Mochizuki Hua in the distance pretended to be puzzled and said, "Jiraiya, have you found the mission target?" Saying that, he also walked in the direction of Jiraiya. When Jiraiya saw Mochizuki Hua following him, he became anxious. He hurriedly turned to Mochizuki Hua and said, "No, there is nothing here." Advertisement. Seeing Jiraiya's appearance, Mochizuki Hua put on an expression that I believe you are weird, and still walked quickly in the direction of Jiraiya. Seeing this, Jiraiya also felt anxious, then had an idea, pretended to take 2 steps casually, and said in surprise, "Oh, it seems to be here." Said, quickly ran towards the red, and Mochizuki Hua, who was following him, suddenly changed his expression, accelerated his speed suddenly, and said loudly, "Be careful, don't get close to that stone." Hearing this, Jiraiya paused, and then he heard the sound of piercing through the air. Whoosh whoosh. The sound made Jiraiya's face change drastically. He had already seen several shurikens flying towards him. Subconsciously moving her body, Jiraiya quickly fled out of the forest. But behind him, a man with a mask appeared, holding kunai and chasing him. "Go to hell, brat." A low growl came from behind, causing Jiraiya's heart to jump wildly, and the adrenaline soared wildly. Body flicker technique. However, a voice sounded behind Jiraiya, and then Mochizuki Hua's body appeared out of nowhere behind Jiraiya. Because the body will be stiff for a short time after using the body flicker technique, Mochizuki Hua has no way to block the kunai that was stabbing at Jiraiya. Pooh! The sound of a sharp weapon piercing flesh. Jiraiya turned round, and saw Mochizuki Hua spread his hands behind him, and behind Mochizuki Hua, a masked ninja pierced Mochizuki Hua's back with kunai. Advertisement. Before he could be shocked, Jiraiya was suddenly grabbed by the recovered Mochizuki Hua and ran forward. Afterwards, Mochizuki Hua blocked Jiraiya behind him. Kunai appeared in his hand, and looked at the masked ninja with cold eyes. It's Anbu from another village who dared to attack Konoha's ninja. "What, do you want to start a war?" Mochizuki Hua spoke in a cold voice, the blood still spilling from his back, and with the hand behind his back, he made a quick gesture to tell Jiraiya to leave quickly. But Jiraiya was already petrified at this time. He looked at Mochizuki Hua with blood on his back and was terrified. "War with Konoha? He. As long as you 2 little devils are killed, you would know that I did it." The masked Anbu spoke, his tone full of disdain. "Even if you can fall into this kind of trap, it seems that you are just 2 fresh graduates." But your kid has a good reaction, and you know the body flicker technique. You should be a genius in Konoha village. Killing you, your village must be very sad and angry. Ha ha ha. Saying this, Jiraiya's heart tightened. But Mochizuki Hua asked, "I'm curious, how did you know our mission objective and that we were looking for the red stone?" Hearing this, but Anbu laughed, and then looked at Jiraiya's playful opening. "Of course some stupid kid told me." Jiraiya's face flushed red upon hearing this. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 50. Maybe I can't fight with you. Yes, it was he himself who leaked the objective of the mission, giving this Anbu a chance to set up a trap. Jiraiya thought, feeling a little uncomfortable suddenly, and Konoha has reached the point where such a kid can graduate. He can't even smell the smell of blood. That Anbu was still taunting, although through the mask, Jiraiya seemed to see his sarcasm in his eyes. "Also, kid, take out your hand behind your back. I guess you must have been gesturing to the brat next to you just now, telling him to withdraw first." "But, this idiot, I'm afraid I haven't noticed your gesture bar." The Anbu ninja is still provoking Jiraiya, making Jiraiya blame herself, and at the same time, the whole person becomes angry. And Mochizuki Hua, after hearing what Anbu said, he also put his hand back, and then calmly said to Jiraiya, "Jiraiya, I will hold him, you go for help." And before Jiraiya could say anything, the Anbu ninja laughed again. "Ha ha ha, hold me back, naive. If you are not injured, there may be a glimmer of hope. But since you have been injured, then today, you have no chance of surviving." After finishing speaking, he looked at Jiraiya again and said, "Speaking of which, you little brat is really my lucky star. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be able to deal with you so easily." These words made Jiraiya's guilt even worse, and at the same time, his reason was overwhelmed by anger. "Bastard, Hua, you go ask for help. I'll hold him back." I saw Jiraiya yelling and rushed up with bare hands. A broken bar, boom. With one kick, he was kicked flying by that Anbu. His body flew upside down, and was caught by Mochizuki Hua. Advertisement. "Jiraiya, only I can hold back this person. Your strength is too weak." Mochizuki Hua put Jiraiya down and opened his mouth. He took a step forward to block Jiraiya's front, and the wound on his back was overflowing with donated blood. "Go and ask for help." After Mochizuki Hua finished speaking, he rushed up holding kunai. Ding ding ding. I saw him and that Anbu fighting quickly, and the 2 people's kunai collided with little sparks, and the sound of ding ding was endless. "Damn it, you are also a kid who graduated together. Why are you so strong?" "Fortunately, you were injured, so you will die here today." Konoha's genius. That Anbu spoke in disbelief, as if he didn't expect this young man to be so strong. But immediately, he roared and attacked frantically. "Jiraiya, go to teacher Sarutobi for help. Whether I can live or not depends entirely on you." Mochizuki Hua was also yelling. His body had already been scratched by Anbu's kunai. In the distance, Jiraiya trembled when he saw this. He really wanted to rush up to help, but the last reason told him that if he also rushed up, it would only be a burden, because his strength is too weak. "Wait for me. You must wait for me." With a roar, Jiraiya endured the pain in his body, quickly got up and ran towards the main road. Hateful, he ran, and Anbu's unwilling roar could be heard faintly behind him. And after Jiraiya ran away, Mochizuki Hyuya and that Anbu stopped. By the way, with so many hits on the main body of kunai, am I considered the best shadow clone in the ninja world? Then Anbu opened his mouth and revealed his identity. Advertisement. Is it interesting to talk to myself? Fortunately, I have strong resilience. Otherwise I would not dare to act like this. If Jiraiya does not repent this time, it will be too bad. As Mochizuki Hyuya said, feeling the pain all over his body, he gritted his teeth slightly. In order to make the play more realistic, these wounds are all real. On the other side, Jiraiya ran wildly without knowing it. He was in a complicated mood at this time, but he suppressed these complicated emotions, leaving only eagerness. He is eager to find Sarutobi Hiruzen. Damn it, Mr. Sarutobi. Where are you, Mr. Sarutobi? He shouted loudly while running. All these years, there was never a moment when he wanted to see his teacher like now. However, the teacher who he felt was always hanging around him on weekdays, has never appeared at this moment. Anxiety, worry, anger, self-blame, all kinds of emotions rushed into Jiraiya's heart, driving him crazy. Finally, after what seemed like a long time, he finally heard the answer. Jiraiya, what's the matter? A voice came from a distance, and Jiraiya seemed to hear the most beautiful voice in his life. He turned around and ran towards Sarutobi Hiruzen frantically. During this period, he also fell once, and the fall was so heavy that his palms and knees were worn out. But Jiraiya didn't feel any pain at all. He just said quickly and eagerly, Teacher, hurry up and save Huey. We met a ninja. He is in the back. Hearing this, Sarutobi Hiruzen also became nervous, hugged Jiraiya, and said, Where is it? Take me there. On the other side, Mochizuki Hyuya sensed that Sarutobi Hiruzen and Jiraiya were approaching, and hurriedly continued acting with his shadow clone. The two fought frantically. When Sarutobi Hiruzen appeared with Jiraiya, what he saw was Mochizuki Hyuya covered in blood. His face was pale and he was grumbling under the attack of Anbu Ninja, as if he would be killed at any time. Advertisement. But seeing Sarutobi Hiruzen coming, he ran away without hesitation. Seeing this, Sarutobi Hiruzen said to Jiraiya, Jiraiya, send Hyuya to the hospital, and I will go after the enemy. After finishing speaking, he quickly chased away. Hearing this, Jiraiya rushed to Mochizuki Hyuya and supported Mochizuki Hyuya who was about to fall. At this time, Mochizuki Hyuya was dying. He looked at Jiraiya, and said weakly, Jiraiya, do you still remember the graduation assessment 5 years ago? At that time, I told you that if you can maintain the will in the future, then I will approve you. Do you know, from that day on, I have been looking forward to the day when I will fight side by side with you. Unfortunately, your performance later disappointed me, thinking that I had misjudged the person. However, today, I found that you still have that will. Then, if you can use this will in practice in the future, I will approve of you. It's just a pity that in the future, we may not be able to do fight together side by side. Mochizuki Hyuya's voice became weaker and finally went silent. The strength in his body seemed to be drained. His body went limp, and he fell towards Jiraiya. Hyuya. In the forest, Jiraiya roared in despair and remorse. Mochizuki Hyuya pretending to pass out. It seems everything is going well. _. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 51 Returning to the Darkness. Mochizuki Hyuya and Sarutobi Hiruzen's plan for Jiraiya is still very successful. This incident made Jiraiya deeply realize the importance of strength and ninja quality. Let him have the consciousness to become a ninja. After all, it was a lesson that was exchanged for the death of his companion nearly 100 million points. This kind of lesson is unforgettable enough. So Jiraiya got serious. He never wanted to experience such powerlessness and despair again. He wanted to fight side by side with Mochizuki Hyuya one day, instead of letting Mochizuki Hyuya use his life to cut off his back. This time, Mochizuki Hyuya was only seriously injured. What about the next time? Next time, maybe not only Mochizuki Hyuya, but his other friends. Next time, it may not only be a serious injury, but death. Thinking of this possibility, Jiraiya felt a heavy heart. He no longer wants to be a burden to others. The next time, when this situation really happened, he hoped that he would be the one to stay. This is a kind of spiritual change. Although it is impossible for Jiraiya to make a huge change immediately, his seriousness and positivity are visible to the naked eye. Advertisement. This transformation made Sarutobi Hiruzen feel gratified. At the same time, I secretly thanked Mochizuki Hyuya, and Mochizuki Hyuya also took advantage of this opportunity to act, and lay in the Konoha hospital for several days, eating and drinking every day, and never thinking of leaving. So much so that Senju Tobirama couldn't stand it anymore. In Hokage's office, Senju Tobirama looked at the information on the table. A cold light flashed in his eyes. 4 years have passed since the end of the last war, and 4 years is enough to make many people forget some memories. But as a Hokage, the supreme leader in charge of a village, Senju Tobirama must not forget some problems exposed during the last ninja war. For example, the surrounding small countries. Although the last ninja world war was mainly a war between the 5 major ninja villages, with the outbreak of the war, many small ninja villages either actively participated or passively involved. Almost all of them participated in the war. These are actually okay, because these ninja villages involved in the war are generally very small ninja villages, and from a single point of view, the impact on the war is not very great. And they have a clear-cut banner, which is a kind of war ration. In comparison, those neutral ninja villages are the biggest invisible threat in the war. For example, in the last war, the lineups of the two sides were evenly matched in strength, so the battle was very intense, and in a certain period of time, it was in a state of delicate balance. And at this time, the choice of those neutral ninja villages will become the key to breaking the balance, the last straw that overwhelms the camel. This is a deadly threat that can't be seen normally, but will emerge at critical moments. If Senju Tobirama hadn't sent Anbu to carry out a large-scale assassination operation last time, the situation of the last war might have been different. Therefore, Senju Tobirama has always kept this situation in mind. Advertisement. These ninja villages, in his opinion, have no need to exist at all. No, it is also necessary to exist. I remember that time when he talked with Mochizuki Hyue. When Mochizuki Hyue mentioned a sentence, no one knows when the war will come, and it is best to leave a war buffer zone between two big countries. This sentence, Senju Tobirama particularly agrees. It is best not to have direct borders between major countries, because direct bordering means that it is more likely to cause conflicts, making it difficult for the border between the two countries to be peaceful. Therefore, one or two small countries are needed as a buffer, as a battlefield for two big countries in peacetime. Even when the Ninja World War breaks out, the battlefield of the Ninja World War can be placed directly on the land of a small country in the buffer zone. In this way, the country will not explode anti-war sentiment so quickly. After all, what was destroyed was the land of other countries, and the innocent people who were killed were the people of other countries. Although this is still unbearable, people are selfish as long as the person being affected is not themselves. At most it is verbal talk, and few people will stand up for others. Therefore, one or two of these small countries can remain, and other small countries. After the ninja world, there will not be so many small countries. Senju Tobirama waited for 4 years, and 4 years was enough for those small countries to let go of their vigilance against the Fire Nation and Konoha. It is also enough for Konoha to recover from the war and cultivate a large number of excellent Anbu ninjas. Yes, Senju Tobirama intends to use Anbu ninjas to destroy those small countries. After all, casual conquest of other countries by force in peacetime does not sound good, and it will appear a bit hegemonic. Advertisement. This kind of thing is disgraceful. Since it is disgraceful, let the people in the dark do this kind of thing. Anyway, Anbu is a dark emissary with no name and no identity. They destroy those small countries, and it has nothing to do with my Konoha village. As for the exposure, now there are Anbu in the 5 major ninja villages in the ninja world. Why is it me, Konoha? What about the evidence? Don't talk nonsense without evidence. Inform Mochizuki Hyue, and report back to Anbu tomorrow. In addition, accept Mochizuki Hyue as the monitor of the 4th squad of Anbu's first team. Also, transfer those 2 outstanding rookies to his class. Senju Tobirama spoke to the empty room. Yes, a voice rang out. It was an Anbu member hiding in the dark. As for Senju Tobirama, he picked up a piece of paper from the table on which Mochizuki Hyue's information was recorded in detail. Hyue, if you want to become a Hokage, you must have a ruthless attitude. Your strength, your mind, everything about you can meet the requirements of being a Hokage. However, if you don't have the courage and determination to face the darkness, then you are only suitable to be a good ninja. This is a test for you. I hope you will not let me down as always. Senju Tobirama looks at the picture of Mochizuki Hyue in the paper and talks to himself. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 52. The shocked new teammate. In Mochizuki Hyue's home, the sun shines through the window and shines on the equipment and appointment letter sent by Anbu on the table. Beside the table, Mochizuki Hyue's eyes were blurred and he was slightly dazed. The 4th class. For 4 years, Mochizuki Hyue has been living in the light, no different from an ordinary ninja, making him almost forget that he is still a member of Anbu. After all, who can live in the light, who wants to blend into the darkness? It seems that the liquidation is about to begin. Talking to himself, Mochizuki Hyue began to change into his equipment. In the end, he looked at his delicate face in a mirror when he was all dressed. The corner of his mouth raised a nice arc, and then he slowly flattened it. He seems to be using this smile to bid farewell to the bright life. Afterwards, Mochizuki Hyue slowly put on the white mask and looked at the only eye that was exposed in the mirror. From now on, I am light. It's not the abandoned training ground, because with the development of Konoha village and the expansion of the town buildings, it was used again and became the number 4 training ground of the village. This is a training ground located in the forest behind the Anbu base. To be precise, it is an open space that has been slightly modified to become a training ground for Anbu personnel. Advertisement. At this time, Mochizuki Hyue and Den were chatting. 4 years later, you're going back to Anbu. It's not a good place. Mochizuki Hyue looked at Den and opened his mouth. 4 years have passed, but Den has not changed in size. After all, he was already in his 20s 4 years ago. Back, Gui, you are wrong. The 4th class has never been disbanded. We have always been members of Anbu's first team and 4th class. Diane spoke seriously, looking at the young man in front of him, the corners of his mouth under the mask slightly raised. Brother Liangchuan, you entered Anbu to escape the family's pressure to marry you. Really, you are 23, it is time to find a girlfriend and get married, and if you come to a place like Anbu, your uncles and aunts must be mad at you. Diane was taken aback by these words, and then a black thread appeared. For 4 years, Diane and the Mochizuki Hyue have known each other's true identities and become friends. Den's real name is Yuzuki Yoshikawa, from the Yuzuki clan of Konoha's small family, but it will still be called Electric in the future. Gui, what you said is too much. What do you mean to escape the marriage urge? What do you mean to be 23? Can you talk? Diane retorted with a dark face. He suddenly felt that the boy in front of him was not cute at all. Hearing this, Mochizuki Hyue was about to continue teasing Diane, but gave up on his own ideas. The newcomer is here. In his perception, 2 strands of chakra are coming towards this side. Sure enough, not long after, 2 Anbu appeared from the forest. They were about the same height, but one had silver white hair, while the other had black hair. Advertisement. I'm a member of the 4th squad of the Anbu 1st unit today. Hatake Tsukumo, please take care of me. The man with silver white hair spoke first. Hearing the sound of 16 or 17 years old, adding his name and hair, Mochizuki immediately knew who he was. Father of the future famous Hatake Kakashi, Konoha's white failure Hatake Tsukumo. It was also the young ninja he met when he performed a dangerous mission for the first time after entering Anbu. I'm also a member of Class 4 of the Anbu 1st unit today. My name is Shuitake Hara. Please take care of me. The black-haired man also spoke, and his age should be around 20 years old. After the words of the 2 fell, Mochizuki Hyue stepped forward and said to the 2, I am the squad leader of the 4th squad of Anbu's 1st division, codenamed Light. Diane also said, Squad 4 of Anbu's first unit, codenamed Diane. After the call, Mochizuki Hue said again, for the convenience of future actions, you all give yourself a code name. However, before that, everyone will talk about their own strength information to facilitate future task arrangements. At this time, Hatake Tsukumo was looking at Mochizuki Hue in surprise. Gwain, how could he forget this code name? Not only did he not forget, but it was precisely because of fighting side by side that year that he made the decision to become Anbu in the choice some time ago. Hatake Tsukumo came to Anbu with the intention of looking for light, but he never imagined that the young man in front of him was the ray of light in his memory. As for Shuite Kara, he was directly shocked. This body shape, this voice, advertisement. His squad leader in Anbu is actually an 11 or 12-year-old boy! Exclamation mark. As the monitor of the 4th class, let me start first. My code name, Light. Good at the various attributes of conventional ninjutsu, body surgery, swordsmanship, illusion, perception, shuriken technique. Possess the light escape blood successor limit, and the strength is at the level of J.A. Ring-Nin. The disadvantage is that the amount of chakra is very small, which is about the same as Hatake Tsukumo's chakra. The above is my strength information. After Mochizuki Hue finished speaking, the whole forest seemed to be silent. The electricity is okay, although he is still surprised after hearing it, but he has discussed with Mochizuki Hue many times, and he already knows that Mochizuki Hue is an all-around excellent ninja. As for Hatake Tsukumo and Shuite Kara, the mouths under the masks are all grown up, their eyes are staring, and their faces are full of disbelief. All attributes, all powers, J.A. Ring-Nin level. This sounds, why is it too outrageous? He seems to be just a boy of 11 or 12 years old. Then let me tell you about my strength information. My code name is Electric, and I am good at lightning style, water style, and wind style ninjutsu. I can do some simple illusions, but I am not good at physical jutsu in terms of strength, especially J.A. Ring-Nin. Den also spoke, waking up the shocked Hatake Tsukumo and Takehara Shiwai. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 53 Anbu Gathering. My code name is. Hatake Tsukumo frowned slightly. He was a little confused about what code name he should call himself. However, Mochizuki Hue said, your weapon is a white short sword, which looks like a fang. Why don't you call it White Fang? Konoha's White Fang. Hatake Tsukumo was taken aback when he heard the words, then the corner of his mouth raised under the mask. My code name is White Fang, and I am good at chakra short sword. I know some ninjutsu, physical and illusion skills of various attributes, but I am not a grandmaster. The disadvantage is that I don't have a lot of chakra in terms of strength, especially J.A. Ring-Nin. Hatake Tsukumo spoke, and then all three looked at Shuite Kara. At this time, the corners of Takehara's shaver mask twitched, and then he said, my code name is Hunter, because I am good at perception and tracking, and I am good at earth-style ninjutsu. I am not good at physical jutsu and illusion, swordsmanship. If it is weak, it is not strong enough, because I'm just an elite Chunin. When he said this, his voice seemed to get smaller. Shuite Kara originally thought that with his elite Chunin strength, he could be considered above average in Anbu, but he never thought that he would come to such a team of immortals. See who this team is? 11 or 12-year-old J.A. Ring-Nin class monitor, and an all-around ninja, veteran, a special J.A. Ring-Nin who is good at 3-attribute ninjutsu. The newcomer to report with me is a special J.A. Ring-Nin who is good at swordsmanship. 1 J.A. Ring-Nin level, 2 special J.A. Ring-Nin. What the hell is this telling me? It's a class under the Anbu squad? Question mark. Advertisement. Okay, now that everyone has a mutual understanding, we will gather at the gate of the Anbu base at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. If there is nothing else, we can leave. Mochizuki Hue opened his mouth and looked at the three players. Den shrugged and said it was fine, and Hatake Tsukumo and Takehara Shiwai also said it was fine. So Mochizuki Hue nodded to Hatake Tsukumo and left with Den. And Hatake Tsukumo also understood at once that this light is that light, and the other party has recognized him. He smiled under his mask, feeling that the trip to Anbu he chose was very good. Then I'll go back first. See you tomorrow. He spoke to Shuite Kara, and then left on body flicker technique. Shuite Kara left behind. He felt that he was in a complicated mood, but it's not bad. At least if the teammates are strong, it will be much easier to perform the task. It took a long time before he said such a sentence, and then left. At this time, Mochizuki Hue on the way back joked to the TV, it's such a pity. I thought they would want to have a practical exercise with me to get to know each other better. Hearing the news, I knew that Mochizuki Hue was joking about the scene when they first met. Thinking of that actual combat exercise, remembering that he was defeated by Mochizuki Hue with the shuriken technique, he showed a nostalgic expression. You bastard, you still remember that incident? Of course, I will never forget it in my life. Mochizuki Hue also laughed. If Xung Hefeng was still there, he would definitely make fun of this matter at this time. Advertisement. I'm going to go on a mission tomorrow, and I'm going to say goodbye to Tsunade. So, see you tomorrow. Single dog. After Mochizuki Hue finished speaking, he left directly, leaving behind a black wire. He growled loudly in the direction Mochizuki Hue left. Damn kid, not cute at all. The next day, at 6 o'clock in the morning, it was still dark. At this point in time, many people were still sound asleep, but some of them had already obediently stood in the open space outside the gate of the Anbu base. Anbu's base is built in a big mountain, and one has to go through a long tunnel to get into it. In this tunnel, there are 2 rows of blue-green lights, giving people a gloomy feeling. At this time, in the open space outside the gate of the base, all Anbu members lined up and looked at the second Hokage Senju Tobirama at the top of the stairs ahead. These Anbu members are many in number, far more than 70. As I said before, Anbu is divided into 4 teams. Each team has 4 classes, and each class has 4 members. That is to say, there are 17 people in each team plus the team leader, and 68 people in the 4 teams plus Minister Anbu and Deputy Minister, a total of 70 people. And now, throughout Anbu, there are hundreds of them, because it is a special period, and Senju Tobirama has long been training a large number of Anbu. So at this time Anbu has 8 teams, each team has 10 classes, and each class has 4 people. so the 8 teams counted 328 team leaders, plus 2 Anbu ministers, a total of 330 people. Here, 330 elite ninjas gathered at once. Advertisement. It is also because of Anbu's large enrollment expansion that the 3 members of Mochizuki Hui's 4th class all have families, and he is the only one who is an orphan. At the top of the steps, Senju Tobirama looked at the Anbu below and nodded with satisfaction. Then speak. This is your mission book, which contains the goals of your mission this time. Remember, your mission is simple. Destroy your target by any means possible without exposing Konoha Gakure. Saying that, Senju Tobirama's tone became cold, with killing intent. Let Anbu know from his tone and what he said, that this mission will definitely be accompanied by killing and blood. After saying this, Senju Tobirama has already used the Flying Thunder God technique to leave, leaving the rest to Captain Anbu. After Senju Tobirama left, Captain Anbu stepped forward and scanned the crowd below, and Deputy Minister Anbu distributed tasks to the sub-captains of all sub-units. After all the sub-captains got the task book, Captain Anbu spoke. The task requirements for this time are all in the task book. Understand your tasks and make your plans. After 12 o'clock at noon today, all set off. Scatter. After the voice fell, all Anbu body flicker technique left. Of course, when it comes to leaving, I don't mean to go back by myself, but to go to the meeting place of each team. The meeting place of the first team is somewhere in the forest behind Anbu, and this kind of place is also the meeting place of all Anbu teams. Gathering is naturally to understand the tasks of their own teams and the tasks of each class. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 54 Countermeasures. The first team consisted of 10 classes. Each class consisted of 4 people, a total of 40 people, including the team leader. 41 people quickly assembled at the team assembly point. Everyone wore masks and stood in 10 rows according to the class, with the monitor of each class standing at the front. The team leader glanced around and paused for 2 more seconds when he saw Mochizuki Hui. In fact, not only the team leader, but almost all the Anbu members of the first team looked at the 4 members of the 4th class intentionally or unintentionally. After all, the 4th class is too special. It has not been disbanded even if it has not been full for 4 consecutive years, but it has not added members. Moreover, since the end of the war 4 years ago, the 4th squad has always been tasked with protecting Hokage-sama, and has never changed to other tasks. However, the other Anbu, who was also tasked with protecting Hokage-sama, had never seen a member of Squad 4 during these years, and the 4th squad is also the only Anbu squad that is not controlled by the sub-captain or even the 2 ministers. It is under the direct supervision of Mr. Hokage and does not need to participate in various meetings of Anbu. Therefore, the 4th class of the first team has not shown up in Anbu for 4 years, and the existence of the 4th class has become a legend in Anbu. So in the past few years, no one knows who and how many people are in the 4th class. In this mission, the legendary 4th squad actually appeared, which made them surprised. Moreover, looking at the young figure of the monitor of the 4th class, they became even more curious. Let me talk about the mission of our first team. After looking around, the captain of the 1st division spoke. According to the mission information, our mission this time is to destroy the country. As soon as these words came out, many Anbu members felt tight and gasped. No wonder Master 2nd Hokage's tone was full of indifference and murderous intent just now. It turned out that their mission was to destroy a country. Advertisement. The country that the first team wants to destroy is the country called the Moon Country, located between the Fire Country and the Earth Country. According to the information we have collected in the past, there are 1 elite JA Ringnin, 3 JA Ringnin, 45 elite Chunin, Chanin, and several genin in the hidden moon village in the Kingdom of the Moon. From now on, you have 1 hour to prepare. An hour later, the village gathered at the 12th point. Scatter. After the sub-leader finished speaking, all the Anbu left immediately, and went back to prepare what they thought they needed. Mochizuki Hui also went back to prepare, although he had nothing to prepare. This mission, Mochizuki Hui already knew, because Senju Tobirama once asked him such a political question. There is such a question, and his answer at the time was to destroy some countries and leave only a few countries as buffers between major powers. Moreover, it threatens to win over these countries and let them use them as their mouthpieces and eyes to keep a close eye on another big country. That question was only released this year. Mochizuki Hui understood Senju Tobirama's intention the moment he saw the question. Moreover, he also understands why the Land of Fire in later generations has such a large area, and there are so few countries in the entire ninja world. Co-authoring is a good thing for 2nd generation. Mochizuki Hui is not interested in this, but he is not disgusted either. The restless and dishonest behavior of these small countries in the last ninja world war doomed their final destination. An hour passed in a hurry, and Anbu of the first team regrouped and started to march. No, this kind of expedition cannot be called an expedition. They are people in the dark, and any bright things have nothing to do with them. 5 days later, the first team reached the border of the Land of Fire. Advertisement. They didn't rush into Weian village immediately, because that would be meaningless. Destroying a country does not mean destroying a village. After destroying Weian village, the Kingdom of the Moon still exists. After all, it is impossible for them to kill all the people in an entire country, or to directly attack a country with the strength of 41 of them. I propose to destroy Weian village first. After completely destroying Weian village, you can go and assassinate the daimyo of the Kingdom of the Moon, so that the Kingdom of the Moon will exist in name only. In a certain cave, the team leader and 10 squad leaders were discussing how to destroy the Kingdom of the Moon, and one of the squad leaders spoke. I propose to create chaos in the Kingdom of the Moon, control some powerful generals, let them fight each other, and finally divide and destroy the Kingdom of the Moon. Another monitor spoke. I suggest a broken bar. Each squad leader spoke out, expressing their own ideas. Only Mochizuki Hui, who was silent in the corner of the crowd, just listened quietly. But the sub-captain took the initiative to find him. Squad leader Gui, what do you think? When he asked, all eyes were on Mochizuki Hui. These eyes are full of curiosity and anticipation. After all, it is a legendary 4th class, the most special existence in Anbu. They also wanted to see what kind of person this squad leader would be in such a special team. Mochizuki Hue seemed to have guessed that he would be called. He looked at the crowd, and then said, "Advertisement. The best way to destroy a country is to rely on the strength of another country. The Kingdom of Fire cannot directly attack the Kingdom of the Moon. This is the premise. So my goal is the Kingdom of Trees, which is adjacent to the Kingdom of the Moon. I think that we can let the Kingdom of the Moon fall into civil strife first, and then tell the Kingdom of the Trees the news, leading the Kingdom of the Trees to launch a war against the Kingdom of the Moon. After the war broke out, what we need to do is to let the Kingdom of Trees always have an advantage over the Kingdom of the Moon, but we must not let the Kingdom of the Moon have any room to resist. We need to allow the Kingdom of the Moon to see hope, because they see hope, they will work hard to grasp it. At this time, we can guide the Kingdom of the Moon to seek help from the Kingdom of Fire with some sacrifices and efforts. These sacrifices and contributions include land and population. This guidance is very important. The Kingdom of the Moon must secretly ask for help from the Kingdom of Fire, and the Kingdom of the Moon will not disclose the matter of asking for help until the assistance from the Kingdom of Fire reaches the Kingdom of the Moon. And to complete this guide, we can obtain from what the Kingdom of the Moon loses. After the Kingdom of Trees is destroyed, you can get it twice as much from the Kingdom of Trees. Confidentiality from these two aspects. In this way, the Kingdom of Trees will seek help from the outside world in order to monopolize the Kingdom of the Moon before the Kingdom of the Moon exposes it for help. The Kingdom of Fire will definitely agree to the request of the Kingdom of the Moon, and we don't need to take action on this. What we have to do is to send troops into the Kingdom of the Moon in the Kingdom of Fire, and spread the news in the Kingdom of the Moon. But before the Kingdom of Fire helps the Kingdom of the Moon, we will help the Kingdom of Trees to eliminate the Kingdom of the Moon in one fell swoop. Country. In this way, the Kingdom of Fire has a reason to avenge the Kingdom of the Moon and launch a war against the Kingdom of Trees, thereby annexing the Kingdom of the Moon and the Kingdom of Trees in one fell swoop. The above is my proposal. After Mochizuki Hue finished speaking, everyone in the cave was stunned. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 55. The plan goes ahead. Then, what about Weian Village? But immediately, someone asked. The plan did not mention how to deal with Weian Village. After hearing the words, everyone also looked at Mochizuki Hue. Mochizuki Hue smiled at the corner of his mouth under the mask, and said, Ninja Village has always been attached to the country, and Weian Village has only two choices in the internal struggle of the country. Either stand in line and choose to be loyal to the forces, either be neutral, wait out the end of the civil war, and serve the victorious power. Either way, neither of these choices has much of an impact on my plans. If all of Weian Village is loyal to one of the forces, then we will become wandering ninjas hired by the other force. If there is a disagreement in Weian Village and they choose to serve different forces in the country, then let them kill each other. If Moon Hidden Village chooses to be neutral, they will also have to fight against the Kingdom of Trees after our plan advances to the Kingdom of Trees attacking the Kingdom of the Moon. And when the Kingdom of Fire enters the arena and the Kingdom of the Moon is destroyed, it will be too late for them to do anything else. For Moon Hidden Village, the only thing we have to do is not let them find out that there are people behind the scenes. As for the destruction of Weian Village, that would only scare the snake away, and I don't recommend taking action against them. As long as the Kingdom of the Moon is destroyed and the Kingdom of Fire enters the scene, everything will be settled. Moon Hidden Village, which lost the Kingdom of the Moon, is just a group of wandering ninjas in the Kingdom of Fire. How to deal with the wandering ninjas in the territory, I don't think I need to say more. This, why are we all human? And some people can think so deeply and see so far. Advertisement. Looking at the small figure of Mochizuki Hue, these Anbu's heart was turbulent and complicated for a while. If possible, they even want to say, you will make us appear incompetent. Excellent countermeasure. Then, if you have any opinions and suggestions on the proposal of the 4th class monitor, please share your own opinions. The sub-leader exclaimed, secretly thinking in his heart that he really deserved to be the legendary 4th squad. This subordinate he had never been in contact with, did not disappoint his expectations. I agree with the countermeasures of the 4th class monitor. Me too. Just discuss the details. Just do what he says. Several squad leaders agreed with the opening, and they agreed with the countermeasures proposed by Mochizuki Hue. In this case, let's improve the details and implement this plan. The team leader made a final decision. Kingdom of the Moon, a minister's mansion. He is the general stationed abroad of the Kingdom of the Moon, has military power, and holds a powerful force in his hands. Since the Ninja World War 4 years ago, the Kingdom of the Moon has long since returned to calm, and he also lived comfortably for 4 years. Advertisement. It's just that occasionally when I think of the failure in the power struggle, I still feel unwilling. After all, that time, he was only a little bit close to becoming the daimyo's throne. However, it still failed in the end. If he hadn't had the military power in his hands and had thousands of troops in his hands, he might have been killed in that power struggle. Today, a mysterious guest came to the general's mansion. This guest is said to be a very talented person who originally wanted to join the daimyo to realize his political ambitions. However, the daimyo didn't see it, and was humiliated by a small official instead, which made him very angry. So he came to seek refuge with the general, and the general also received him, and the two chatted, and they actually had a very happy conversation and cherished each other. Then, secret orders began to be conveyed, and the army controlled by the general began to move. 2 days later, the general's army suddenly launched an attack on Daming Fang's towns, using blitzkrieg. Before Daming Fang could react, he captured several towns in one fell swoop. When the news came out, the daimyo was furious. Then, the daimyo began to fight back, and the Lunar Civil War broke out. This battle made Weian Village stunned. They have always fought against ninjas from other hidden villages. A civil war broke out in this country. Who should they help? Someone offered to help the daimyo suppress the rebellion, and someone offered to help the general change the world. But they were suppressed by the leader of Weian Village, and he decided to wait for the price to see who would benefit more from the daimyo or the general. The Kingdom of the Moon is just a small country. Several big countries have no intention of paying attention to this kind of civil war. They despise such a poor place. Advertisement. However, the Kingdom of Trees, which is adjacent to the Kingdom of the Moon, is different. Under the persuasion of a certain official, the daimyo of the Kingdom of Trees launched an attack on the Kingdom of the Moon. The war broke out like this. Facing the attack of the Kingdom of Trees, the Kingdom of the Moon, which had consumed some energy in the civil war, was no longer its opponent and was suppressed to death. The two sides held peace talks and first unified the outside world. Now Aeon Village is in an embarrassment. Their act of selling for a price was originally intended to make money at both ends. As a result, the entry of the Kingdom of Trees put them in an embarrassing situation. In order to restore their image, Moon Hidden Village fully participated in the war against the Kingdom of Trees. They wanted to convey to the daimyo and the general an attitude of we will not participate in civil wars, and foreign wars are absolutely unambiguous. With the full participation of Moon Hidden Village, the Kingdom of the Moon finally stabilized the battle situation temporarily. Although it is still at a disadvantage, fortunately, there is still hope. But at this time, the person who took refuge in the general made a plan. He advocated asking for help from the Nation of Fire, and at the right time, he could make some sacrifices because the man said, as long as the Kingdom of Trees is eliminated, everything we pay can be obtained from the Kingdom of Trees. This sentence moved the general and the daimyo. If they use the power of the Fire Nation to destroy the Tree Nation, then their territory will expand a lot, and the two will no longer have to fight. Therefore, envoys from the Kingdom of the Moon asked for help from the Kingdom of Fire soon. As for the Land of Fire, after Mochizuki Hua sent the news back to Konoha, Senju Tobirama took action, joined forces with the daimyos of the Land of Fire, and began to rip off the Land of the Moon. In the end, the two parties signed a contract, and the Kingdom of the Moon paid part of the land and population as a price, requiring the Kingdom of Fire to secretly send troops to reinforce the Kingdom of the Moon. So the development of the matter has reached the final stage, and the country of Fire sent troops and ninja troops to quietly go to the country of the Moon. Mochizuki Hua, who got the news, started the next step of the plan, helping the Kingdom of Trees to destroy the Kingdom of the Moon after the Kingdom of Fire entered the territory of the Kingdom of the Moon, and the Kingdom of the Moon announced that the Kingdom of Fire would come to support it. Anbu's first team, 10 squads of 40 people, began to assassinate important figures in the Kingdom of the Moon on this day. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time, April 29th to May 3rd.